right, folks, what's up? How you all doing?
Including them being disrespectful, intimidating, and lying. It's not known what the next step is for the board.
That's 95.3 MNC's Hendrickson. It's called the school board's action to vote down the resolution. A setback. And where are the fireworks displays for your community? We have a complete list.
They are nowhere.
.com.
Now my daughter's mad at me because I didn't get any fireworks. Ugh.
You going to the show tonight?
No, not.
You used to be able to sit in your backyard and watch it.
I mean, we're kind of surrounded by trees. We'll look around and see what we can do, but
it's a nice little trip up downtown. It's worth it.
yeah, I just, the kids are older, we will. They're just too volatile at this point. One is good, one's bad, then they flip, and it's rare that they're both great, especially around bedtime.
Bree is how old now?
She just turned 7 on the 1st. So it's it's just one of those things. Plus, I mean, it's happening at bedtime anyway, so they're going to be extra grouchy.
You're invited to their home. See Kramer Interiors at University Drive in Granger.
Summer is
Doobie doobie doo.
which means it's time to get off the couch and saddle up.
All right, where is?
There's no better
Okay,
time
do
to
that.
than this Wednesday.
I'm gonna have a lot of audio today.
At Elkhart Indian Motorcycle,
Yep.
Wild West
Play it real quick. I forget which pod it is. Gray one or the orange one?
No.
Here, just play it.
Hold on. I gotta open something up.
While you're there, don't forget to check out the lineup of the brand new Royal Enfield motorcycles that Elkhart Indian is carrying.
Doobie doobie doo doo.
Officially here.
Slow ass computer.
Wild West, that is. At Elkhart Indian Motorcycles, Wild West Wednesday Bike Night, July 3rd, from 6 to 9
It's loading.
p.m. Indian and Indian Motorcycle are registered
And
trademarks of Indian
playing.
Motorcycle International, LLC. Always wear a helmet.
Easier,
Eye protection and
and
protect
they
There it
put
is.
them
Got it.
in
Never ride under
Okay.
the influence of drugs or alcohol.
You should leave it up.
Huh?
You want to just leave it up?
Well, I mean, email notifications and crap will go out on the air if you do that.
Just tell me when you're going.
I'll just let you know when it's coming.
You can just flip me off all night.
You got it. What's up, Frank and Susie? You're in Maine. Grab me some lobster.
We covered that already, so
What is the name of that famous sandwich they have? That lobster sandwich that they have up there? That everybody says when you go to Maine, you've got to get it.
Lobster roll?
Is it a roll?
I'm pretty sure it's just a lobster roll.
I thought it had a more sophisticated name to it, but it might just be a lobster roll.
So here's the easiest one of the year. Dell's Black Friday in July is back and bigger than ever. Get
There is a
no
really
deals
good
on the
lobster
very
roll
latest
place in
computers
downtown
with Intel
Chicago
Core
now, too.
processors and a huge selection of
That's
servers,
always
electronics, and more. Always
Nice.
free
It's
shipping
really,
on
really
everything.
good. It's really expensive.
Even easier.
Of course.
Dell's
Really
small
good.
business
in
technology
Chicago.
advisors can help you find
I paid
just the right
$12
tech.
for a microwave
877 by
hamburger.
Dell. That's an easy call. 877
Yeah,
by
people
Dell.
are really pissed off about the 4th of July celebration in D.C., which is hysterical, by the way. What's up, Levi? All right, here we go.
from the first step to the final phase.
Industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. So I do want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Today is Wednesday, which means kids shoot free today with a shooting parent, of course. So go to secondamendmentarms.net for more info. Also, they are closed tomorrow for the holiday, although you should be wise on a holiday like that and call ahead before you start making trips out anywhere, because a lot of people will close down for said holiday. All right, so you go to 953mnc.com. The FOP has issued another statement regarding the police shooting, written by one Carl Stutzman. Never met that guy, but I hear he sucks. GoFundMe.com has taken down the crowdfunding campaign for Sergeant Ryan O'Neill, and the local FOP is not happy about it. So the South Bend FOP president, Harvey Mills, says that he was informed that the campaign was taken down because it was, quote, in support of a hate crime. Really? Based on what evidence? So here's the full transcript of the press release, which again is available at 953mnc.com. Today, the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge number 36 in South Bend, Indiana, announced that its fundraising campaign in support of Sergeant Ryan O'Neill has been canceled by GoFundMe. In less than a day, the campaign had already raised more than $5,000. Anti-police activists must have pressured GoFundMe into canceling our campaign to help Sergeant Ryan O'Neill pay for his legal defense in a civil lawsuit filed against him. Again, that's Harvey Mills, who's the president of the South Bend FOP. Shockingly, GoFundMe told us that they canceled the campaign because it was in support of a hate crime. This is fundamentally wrong, and I'm shocked that a company would accuse a police officer of a hate crime simply for defending himself from an armed attacker. The FOP announced a new campaign that is being run on another fundraising platform, which is Fundly. So we have a link to that on 953mnc.com. Mills also continued, I find it truly offensive that GoFundMe would cancel our campaign to defend a police officer who hasn't been accused of a crime while they freely allow violent groups like Antifa to raise money to support criminal acts that have been in the news recently. Whoa. Can we just pause for a moment? Time out. Wait a minute. We've got the Fraternal Order of Police in South Bend accurately describing the behavior of Antifa. This is good news. This is what we actually should want, actually, out of law enforcement. That's great. But obviously, they're upset about GoFundMe's position. Now, GoFundMe, honestly, GoFundMe's position on this was not worded properly. They shouldn't have done that. Now, I will tell you this, the GoFundMe, over the course of the past year or two, they've actively tried to just get stuff like this that could be controversial off of their platform because they don't want the bad press, right? They don't want to deal with it. At the same time, they should have worded that differently and said, look, there's a pending legal battle here and there's the possibility that, there could be charges or something. So we're not going to allow this on our platform just because we don't know where this is going to go. And we don't want to be a party to funding something that may end up being something that was criminally charged or something of that nature. Now, nobody really expects that to happen with the officer involved in this shooting because, again, all of the evidence we have at this point in time points to this being a legitimate shooting and totally justified. So it's at fundly.com, defend Officer Ryan O'Neill. We have the link at 953mnc.com. They're obviously irritated by all of this, and I certainly don't blame them for being irritated by all of this because, again, a lot of you have said, hey, where's the pro-officer protests and things like that are up there? And, well, the answer to that is I don't know. I have no idea. Now, here's the thing, okay? So they left Fundly. This may have ended up being a really good thing for the officer. So GoFundMe kicks them off of the platform. They go to Fundly, okay, fundly.com. And I'm staring at it right now. Remember, it was taken off of GoFundMe when it had $5,000 in less than a day. They are on Fundly right now, and they have almost 61 grand. So this may have actually been a blessing for the officer involved. This page is intended to raise funds for the legal defense and communications relating to South Bend Police Sergeant Ryan O'Neill. Sergeant O'Neill is being smeared by anti-police activists for defending his life. That is the post. It has 1,278 supporters, 286 comments. I'm not going to read all of the comments because they're probably going to be a mixture of the positive and the crazy. Sergeant O'Neill had this to say this morning. This is an update on the Fundly page. I'd like to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude, not only to the people who have donated, but to everyone who is following the events in South Bend. The level of support that we've received is simply overwhelming. Like so many American families, ours is focused on loving each other and working hard. Being thrown in the middle of a presidential campaign was something that we never anticipated. The support that we've received is tremendous and has helped to balance the intense pressure that we are under. Our family will soon grow by one, but this event has helped us realize that we were part of a much larger family all along. Your brother in blue is Sergeant Ryan O'Neill. So I'm at the point now where I'm not going to withhold his name just because he's now putting his name out there. And if he's putting his name out there, I don't have any issues talking about it. Early on in this, I was withholding the officer's name, even though it was well publicized, just because I don't need to give him any more attention where he's going to have to deal with harassment and that sort of thing. Just let this kind of play out. But now he's actively engaging the public, and therefore there's no reason for me to go out there and try to not tell you who he is, especially if you're looking for fundraising apparatuses to help him in his legal defense. So again, it was taken down for, and I think they do 60-day campaigns. So days left, 59, and he has, the goal is $75,000. He has $60,743 that have been raised on Fundly. Okay, of course, they're going to take their cut out of that. I don't know what Fundly's system looks like or what their commission is. So you can go to fundly.com. Again, we have a link directly to it right there on 953mnc.com. You just got to look at the story. You can read up on it. So this may have ended up helping. I mean, because if it was up for a day and it only raised $5,000, which isn't bad, by the way, that's actually far more than I ever raised for crowdfunding. So it's, that's still not $60,000. So perhaps the media attention because of this and everybody publishing about it, that is the reason that maybe a lot of people are now noticing that there is a crowdfunding campaign and they're donating to it because now the word is out. Oh, and GoFundMe was trying to go ahead and say that this was a hate crime with absolutely no evidence whatsoever that this was a hate crime. So again, it's at $60,743. Over 1,200 people have donated to the campaign at this point in time. And if you would like to, go to 953mnc.com and we have that up there on our website. You can read the story and also go directly to the link. Also, get your cell phones and your cameras ready. I am told that tomorrow there's supposed to be some event somewhere. I don't really know where it's going to be. Something about the dates and some holiday or something. So tomorrow, I assume that a lot of you will get some photographs. And those photographs might be of a patriotic nature. And you might want to submit those photographs to the Patriotic Photo Contest. And to do that, real easy. Text the word photo right now to 45364, or you can go to 953mnc.com and you can register there. Submit your patriotic photos. And again, 953MNC and Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill in Mishawaka are putting this on. We do it every single year. And the 15th of July, okay, that's when we turn the Patriotic Photo Contest over to all of you. So we basically manage it. You submit your photos, we post it, we get it up there, we set up the rating system. And then on the 15th, you guys and gals decide who is actually going to have the most patriotic photo and win the prize packages. So it's entirely up to you. This is literally something that we put in your hands. So again, you can do that starting on the 15th. But in the meantime, get your patriotic photos submitted. And I know that a lot of you are waiting for tomorrow to get a lot of those shots because people always submit fireworks shots. They always do. Kids with sparklers are always a winner on the Patriotic Photo Contest. Not like literal winner, but I mean popular. So anyway, text the word photo right now to 45364 or go to 953mnc.com to enter. Again, message and data rates apply for both of you who don't have unlimited plans. Get with the times, by the way. This year, the Summer Fun prize pack that we are giving away includes tickets to the Chicago Cubs, family 4-packs to the South Bend Cubs, Indiana Beach, Deep River Water Park, Kentucky Kingdom, and a $100 gift card to Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill, the best Mexican food available in Michiana. So go to 953mnc.com and register. Best of luck to all of you. I look forward to seeing all of your photos and looking at them judgmentally. We have more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Get breaking news text
Alerts direct to your smartphone.
What's up, Finn? You got Susie, Frank, a bunch of others that I haven't seen yet. How is everybody doing?
Breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the prime
All right, let me log into chat here. There we go. Now I'm in chat for you.
Many drivers on television. I didn't think she was alive anymore.
The last time that I heard from Minnie Driver was when her and I had a Twitter battle 4 or 5 years ago. She was wearing some stupid Obama onesie PJs or something, and I don't remember what her comment was. It was just a ridiculous comment. I was like, really? And then it became it's like a whole back and forth thing. between Minnie Driver. I was like, that was my evening. Woke up the next day. So what'd you do last night? I fought with Minnie Driver on Twitter. What'd you do? The things that we do for our jobs.
Oh, you'd do that if you didn't have this job.
Probably.
Yep.
I had an ex who really, really wanted to sleep with her. Like, bad. That was her girl crush. Minnie Driver was her girl crush. And I was like, fine, that's your free pass. You run into Minnie Driver and you can make it happen, go for it. All I ask for is video.
My wife's all about Zoe Kravitz.
Who?
Zoe Kravitz.
Don't know who that is.
Do you know who Lenny Kravitz is?
Yes.
It's his daughter.
Well, let me look her up. Oh, yeah, okay.
I was gonna say, how do you not know Zoe Kravitz?
I knew the image. I got you. Yeah, she's cute. Not my style, but she's cute.
Also, Anna Kendrick.
Well, I mean, honestly, isn't everybody in love with Anna Kendrick for multiple reasons? She's not just attractive and talented. She's funny as hell. Her personality is amazing.
If you got her and Keanu Reeves together, the internet would explode.
Dude, you kidding me?
The internet would not survive that. That would be the end of it.
It would be the end of it. She has one of the funniest damn Twitters.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not following Anna Kendrick on Twitter, follow Anna Kendrick on Twitter. She's hysterical.
Think of them as the biggest birthday candles in the world. Celebrate the birthday of the country. Change the world.
Let's see.
Happy birthday, America.
I'm just doing the show prep, folks. Pardon my dust.
Personal growth is the continuous process of
Good thing we saw that Chicago bean before it got vandalized.
At Bethel University, we recognize the busy demands on life.
Now it just matches the rest of the city.
Faith-based approach to
Yep.
personal growth. Bethel is where students realize that your faith life and your work life.
Seriously, though, I was sitting there while my kids were, because I was doing the purse watching, while my kids were playing on the splash pad, all I could think of was, I'll bet this splash pad could be built for $650,000. That's all I can think of. I'm like, I'm sure it cost more just because it's Chicago and politics and everything, but I bet it could be built for $650,000.
I bet we could probably get
all
this
I can
done
think of, dude.
$650,000.
Dude. And it was a great splash pad. It was massive. It was huge. It accommodates a butt ton of kids. You don't have all of the kids congregating in the same spot because there's one bucket. There's two areas where it spits on you.
Yeah, the spitting fountains, did you get there? The faces?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The splash pad. Yeah.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And it said it looks super neat. Tons of space. Kids going back and forth between both of them, you know? And that right there would get kids out of the damn house and outside playing in the park. So your stupid boombox.
After that, it's just $30 for a month's supply. Sure beats paying big bucks for just one blue pill, doesn't it? Plus, you won't need
As Dean has put it, it is Independence Day. Although technically that's the second, but I digress.
Prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. It's affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to HIMSS, nobody has to.
The last person wouldn't sign.
To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to this exclusive
Wouldn't
address.
sign the Declaration of Independence officially.
That's
I think for like 6 months after it was
your first
ratified.
month for just $5.
They ratified it in faith but had not signed.
Correct.
I forget who it was.
Yes.
I want to say it was.
Yeah, I have to look it up too. I don't
One
remember.
of the southern colonies.
A whole bunch of interesting history surrounding that, actually. Somebody asked yesterday when the King of England got it, and that's a good question. I don't know.
A ship's ride.
Susie points out that Betsy Ross is one of the first feminists. Yep. Did you see the GOP's troll of Colin Kaepernick on that today? So the Colin Kaepernick, So the GOP posted a photo of Colin Kaepernick throwing a pick six, like a terrible throw, like one of his worst. It's one of the famous ones. And they were wishing the women's national team good luck and hoped that they would honor America's first feminist. Betsy Ross. It was a pretty supreme troll on Twitter. I'll give them a lot of credit for that. What's up, Blue? Did you get your meat? Amateurs. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. What do we have here? Okay, can I just do just a couple of things here? Kamala Harris, I don't believe that people are being honest when they say that she was giving Pelosi credit for ending HIV in the United States. Okay, so I won't play you the audio. It's really hard to hear. It's grainy, but she was at an event and she was thanking Pelosi for her efforts on HIV, but she didn't claim that Pelosi ended HIV. It was that we're finally fighting to end HIV. That was the actual quote. So this is what Harris said. And Nancy, I thank you for your leadership on this, for finally fighting to end HIV and AIDS. And people are posting out there that Kamala Harris has claimed that Pelosi ended HIV and AIDS, which of course makes no sense because there's like 35,000 new cases every single year in the U.S. That is not what she said. And so stop it. Just stop it now, because you're embarrassing yourselves and you're beclowning the movement. And you're also giving them ammunition. You know, when you take things out of context deliberately like that and you throw it around, it gives them ammunition to say that you're the crazy people who do that instead of them usually being the crazy people who do that. So no, Nancy Pelosi did not end HIV in the U.S., nor did Kamala Harris claim that she did. They were talking about a new funding measure to combat HIV and AIDS, and that finally getting the funding that we need, in spite of that being historically incorrect, because obviously HIV and AIDS has been very funded in the United States. One of the biggest proponents of fixing HIV and AIDS and curing it was George W. Bush, who, by the way, increased funding of it larger than any previous administration had ever done combined. So George H.W. Bush was very passionate about HIV/AIDS funding. He doesn't get a lot of credit for that, but he threw a ton of money at it, and nobody gave him credit for it. So it's clearly been well funded, and obviously the progress that has been made over the years is undeniable. They've certainly made a lot of headway, and we would like to thank Magic Johnson for his contribution in testing out some of those early serums, because clearly they work. Anyway, 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. I've told you before that, obviously I'm from Las Vegas. Most of you know this, that grass is banned in Las Vegas. And a lot of people are kind of weirded out by that because they see pictures of Las Vegas and, well, there's grass. Okay, so pretty much the only place you see real grass in Las Vegas is on casino resorts or the golf course. Most of the grass throughout the city is fake. And fake grass has come a long way. Fake grass looks and feels and sometimes even operates, as far as dog messes and stuff like that are concerned, like real grass. It's actually come quite a bit. And so if you're looking at doing that and getting some artificial turf and things like that, trust me, there are plenty of really, really solid options for you out there. You just got to go out west into the desert and check some of that stuff out. And people are always a little weirded out by that because obviously you come from a place where grass is everywhere and it doesn't cost all that much money to put in or to maintain and that sort of stuff. Although I do think some of the seasonal maintenance on the grass and turf that you get from the hardware store is a little excessive in pricing, especially for what you get. But that's just me. So anyway, grass is banned where I'm from, and I told you before that what ended up happening is, because there used to be grass there, is they would go through and they would offer everybody money to take the grass out. So you went to a xeriscape. Now, xeriscape is basically dirt and rocks and then little bushes, and you use a drip system. So these tiny little hoses and a drip system as opposed to sprinklers. You don't need sprinklers anymore. You get rid of your sprinklers, you just use the drip system. And so you go ahead and you say, all right, we have this like grass. I forget what it was called. It's a grass rebate or something like that. So you cut the grass out of your property, and then you get money which is supposed to be something that saves water, right? That was the whole idea, because there's this huge myth that Lake Mead is getting smaller because of a drought. It's not getting smaller because of a drought. It was excessively high for several decades because of massive rainfall for 2 years in a row. And now California takes more of the water from Lake Mead than it used to, which lowered the lake's depth, which is why you have the bleaching marks on there. It has nothing to do with there not being any rain anymore in the desert. That's a myth. So anyway, they paid everybody to take their grass out. Lots of people did. They either went to xeriscaping, which is like desert landscaping with the drip system like I talked about, and you have little bushes and twigs and things like that, or they went to the artificial grass, which, by the way, can get very expensive because, again, some of it is extremely good. And I do recommend it if you don't want to actually cut your grass, but you still want to maintain the look and the feel of grass. You can get some really nice stuff. Now, California has decided to do the same thing. Did you see the report the other day that said California is going backwards with smog? Did you see that, newsman Carl?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
Okay. So there's a report. Let me pull this up. That means it is what it is. Okay, so L.A. smog. So this came out this week that Los Angeles, after years, the war on Southern California smog is slipping. Fixing it is a $14 billion problem. That's the Los Angeles Times 2 days ago. Smog is making a comeback in Southern California. That's beyond unacceptable. Los Angeles Times 9 hours ago. So basically what they're saying is, after several years of improving the smog conditions in LA, smog is suddenly getting worse and they can't figure out why. But it's really easy to figure out why. You ready for this?
Sure.
They have a grass buyback program. What does grass do, ladies and gentlemen? Grass eats smog. So California started getting rid of grass, and now the smog is coming back. Cause? Effect. They're losing people. The city's not growing. Okay. Cause? Effect. You get rid of grass because it wastes water. So you get rid of grass. And you go and you have problems with smog again. It's weird how these things kind of materialize, like almost out of thin air. See, lots of insider little puns and stuff like that there. So yeah, Southern California and the LA Times in particular, which, by the way, kudos in the LA Times, they've become a good newspaper again. They are trying to figure out what is happening with the smog, but it turns out it's probably tied to their grass buyback program. MNC News Time is 3:31. We're going to have a lot more coming up. Don't forget to watch us on the live stream, youtube.com/Casey the Host, and of course, twitch.tv/Casey the Host. More up next on 95.3 MNC.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. MNC.
Hometown story.
Don't
forget about your hometown story.
Hometown story what?
From yesterday that you never got to.
Oh, yeah.
They can donate school supplies, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. Instead of turning parking tickets, right now they're just doing parking tickets, but instead of turning parking tickets into a revenue raiser for the city's government, then you go ahead and you fund schools that way.
Well, yeah. Do they operate on a zero-sum ticket basis like most of the governments around here do, which is none of the money they get actually goes into the department, it goes into the city?
No, it doesn't go to the department, it goes into the city's budget. It goes into the general fund.
There was years ago, before that was the thing down in Peru, the Indiana State Police got in trouble
because they're funding their own department.
Well, yeah, they were funding their own department, but just by stopping people on 1 2-mile stretch of 31 South.
Yeah, you can't do that.
About too.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Nope.
But cities do the same thing. That's why they have these quotas.
Keep them confined to a particular room, especially if you're going to have guests over. The animals may sneak out. If you can keep them locked.
Consider getting them a compression shirt or talk to your vet about the best ways to keep them calm. We have a list of local fireworks displays, by the way, at 953mnc.com, as well as more of the interview with Jen Goebel.
Ooh, her last name sounds not like Goebbels.
Goebbels.
Yeah, her name was Goebel. Goebbels.
Referring to the man.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Joseph Goebbels.
This should never have gotten
The Nazi master marketer.
Yeah, buddy.
The marketing guru that would put millennials to shame.
I mean, let's be perfectly honest. He's still influencing millennials, and they don't know it. Everybody took some lessons from Goebbels. He wrote the book.
They took in $21.5 million in the second quarter. That's more than $3 million.
There we go, KTLA. SoCal's war on smog is slipping after years of improvement. That's the headline I was looking for. It's all about the headlines, folks. People keep asking me about the podcast, and the answer is my producer hasn't shown me how to pull them off the skimmer yet. So
You're a producer.
that's the answer.
You're a program director.
You are demoted today.
A mixed sunny clouds today with temperatures warming up to 86 degrees.
You're almost as bad as that other guy who works here who doesn't like the audience. What's his name again?
For the 4th of July, a high of 88 degrees. Again, mixed sunny clouds during the day. But once again, isolated showers and storms in the evening. In the ABC 57 First Morning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly.
This is Hoosier Ag Today and the Wednesday closing farm market reports. Corn, soybeans, and wheat.
You know what's funny is this link that I've had to access stuff off the audio archive. I have had literally the whole time I've been on.
I mean, why would you get rid of it?
You can only access it inside the building.
Yeah, but still.
I never took it off of my.
You always knew you were coming back, dude.
Yeah, well,
You know, you're in radio, man. You're never getting away from it. You're like never. The only time people get away from radio is when they go to TV, and then they do TV for a couple of years, and then what do? They get a podcast. They go back to radio.
August and September as well. 889 and a quarter on the August.
People are talking about shoes.
Up 9 and a quarter at 908.
New Balance are great shoes, by the way. They're fantastic. There's a reason that the military recommends them above all others.
They're also the ultimate dad mowing shoes.
They are the dad mowing shoes. They make a couple of super awesome dad models. There's no doubt about that.
The white model with the blue piping and blue lettering.
It's classic, dude.
Yeah, that's the classic.
Classic. Like, it's one of those things where you become a dad and you have to buy two things. You have to buy that shoe and you have to buy a minivan. It's just
no minivan yet. Although I've been very tempted by it.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest, and I knew that this would happen. Okay, minivans look stupid as hell.
Yeah, but you can fit like 20 sheets of drywall.
It is the most convenient damn vehicle, dude. It's like, I love my ugly minivan. I really do. First of all, it has a Bose audio system in it, so it sounds amazing.
We call them juicy vans because for the amount of money you spend on a minivan, if you go out and spend $19,000 on a minivan, it will be fully loaded. Right?
Yeah, and ours is. My wife got the fully loaded badass model.
Okay. If you go out and buy a Ford Escape, whatever their model is, same features, just in a crossover, $40,000.
Yep.
Twice the price.
Twice the price.
Same features.
Yep.
And you can't fit 20 sheets of drywall
Correct.
on the back of that.
Yep. No, we got leather, everything, Bose system, DVD, came with 2 headphones. You can listen to the radio while the kids have the headphones on watching the DVD. I mean, it's a nice system.
One of my favorite things that I ever saw was a guy, where was it? I want to say it was the Meyer in Goshen. We're in the parking lot, and he just opens up the back of his car, and there's like 6 goats in there. It was a minivan. He just opens up the back, and there's 6 goats in there. And he just drops a water bowl, and they all sit there and drink the water, and he closes it. And I'm like, I had to ask him, like, what's with all the goats? And he's like, oh, I sold these to a guy who lives over in, like, Northwest Indiana. I'm just transporting them. And I'm like, you're transporting 6 goats in a minivan?
Dude, they're glorious, man. They are just glorious.
Horrible children or 6 goats for someone's daughter's hand in marriage.
All right, I gotta get into Discord because I want to post something, and I'm hoping it goes through to you guys. I don't think it will. Okay, I don't think it will, but I'm hoping it does. I still haven't been to Cosmos. They invited me over there, and I still haven't been there.
I like the family atmosphere. The food is great, and Cosmos Susie are the best host and hostess.
Kind of make you feel like family. Hi, Hi, this is Dwayne Miller with Good Faith Management, and I buy houses cash.
All right, come on.
If you own a house and want to sell it fast and for a fair price, call me at 574-294-5678. I can pay cash and close in as little
I get
as 7
messages from my
days.
friends every day that say things like, I will buy something from every single one of your sponsors if you promise me you'll get rid of the Good Faith Management.
That I do. People hate it,
But it's effective.
it's effective, and until somebody decides to pay us a butt ton of money. Oh wow, that is the largest URL I think I've ever seen.
It's so big it should come with a Brazers tag.
Great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and houses. If you own a house
The dad shoe, the classic dad shoe. They should just rename it the dad shoe. Every Father's Day, New Balance should put that shoe on sale. So every year you can replace your mowing shoe.
Well,
No other shoes go on sale for Father's Day. Just the dad shoe.
Just the white and blue New Balance. What is it, like the 835 or something? It's got a number to it.
Hold on.
Affordable. Right now, get your first month supply for free.
I was just
All
on
you
it
pay is
too.
Just $5 for your medical consultation when you go to 4hems.com/night. After that, it's just $30 for a month's supply. Sure beats paying big bucks for just one blue pill, doesn't it? Plus, you won't need an awkward in-person doctor's appointment to get the prescription. Hims has doctors
624.
online who can prescribe the
The
medication
624
and
cross
send it
trainer.
right to your door. It's affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with
$75.
Thanks to Hims, nobody has to.
And then you got the old man version of it where the N is white and it has Velcro instead of laces.
In case your grandfather also needs a pair.
4hems.com/night.
From the final phase electric studios, from the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
The old man version has Velcro straps on it. That one doesn't have the blue N though. It's just all white. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. Got a text message and said, what's your app called? Well, it's, I guess, The Burning Truth. So if you go to theburningtruth.us, and it's not in the store, okay? Mostly because I'm too cheap to pay the $25 fee. It's not in the store, all right? I don't have it in the Google Play Store. So if you go to 95.3, not 95.3 MNC, because they don't have my app. If you go to theburningtruth.us, you will notice in the sidebar of any post that you can go ahead and just use your camera and do the QR code thing. It will download my mobile app onto your phone. And then you can get all of my blog posts, all of my podcasts, all of my daily show prep. Yes, I know I'm behind on the podcasts. There has been chaos here. I apologize. So the chaos that has been happening over the past week or so has not allowed me the time to be able to get the podcast up. Also, when Joe's not here and we have replacement producers, they typically don't record the show. So Carl's going to try and show me how to pull it off of this skimmer today. And then I'll be able to spend another 2 hours downloading the 3-hour podcast because you have to do it in 15-minute chunks. And then I can piece it all together and then upload it. Sounds fun.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouse, Casey.
I need to learn how to do it just in case, but I'm just letting you all know that I will be angry the entire time that I am doing it. So, but I do it for you. Okay. I do it for you. All right. Want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Again, today's Wednesday. Kids shoot free. Show them some real fireworks, folks. Go to Second Amendment Arms and Range and let your kid play with some boomsticks under proper supervision. Teach them proper control of a firearm, responsible gun ownership. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. Of course, don't forget to mention me because you get all sorts of discounts all over that place simply by being a listener of the program. I also want to remind everybody that they are closed tomorrow for the holiday. Independence Day, of course, is tomorrow, and lots of places are closed. All right. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, first of all, this is a huge case, and it's very interesting to follow, but I'm also bringing it up because Pete Buttigieg made one of the dumbest comments I think you can make about an ongoing trial, which was that the president shouldn't pardon somebody if they are convicted, which makes no sense. It's the president's authority. And given that he was talking about two particular cases, both of whom have huge problems with the legal process, it made no sense for him to take that position and then claim that the president would be forcing some kind of a constitutional crisis by doing that, because that made absolutely no sense. So first case, not this one, but the first case involves a Blackwater operative or executive. I forget what his position was with Blackwater. Multiple years, they tried to go after he and his team to get them for war crimes. The problem is that they tried for several years to get them with manslaughter charges, and the courts wouldn't allow it. The courts kept saying, there's no evidence of this. We're not going to allow this to proceed, and the case kept getting dismissed. So what they ended up doing after the statute of limitations had expired in that particular case is, instead of going after all of them, they went after their one leader. And they said, instead of manslaughter, it's first-degree murder. So they went after him for first-degree murder. That's the case. Huge problems with that particular case. And then, of course, there's the Edward Gallagher, or Eddie Gallagher, a very decorated Navy SEAL. That case is the one that is most forefront in everybody's mind. That's the case where the prosecutor installed spyware on the computer and was able to spy on the defense team. They claimed that they weren't trying to, but that's what ended up happening. The prosecutor admitted to mistakes in the investigative process, and the prosecutorial process was removed from the case. New prosecutor was brought on. Other issues with the case altogether. Eddie Gallagher was found not guilty this week. Okay. Now, this, of course, happens after a medic with the Navy SEALs said he's actually the one who killed the inmate, not Gallagher. So Gallagher was accused of stabbing an injured Islamic State fighter to death and shooting at civilians while he was in Iraq in 2017. Those civilians included an elderly man and a child, according to the New York Times. And as I always say in these cases, do your best to remember Haditha, because Haditha occupied the anti-war movement's forethoughts for years. They were the example of how evil American servicemen and women were. They were the example of how evil George W. Bush was. They were all of the proof you needed that there were war crimes being committed over there. And they were exonerated. Okay? There was like one minor charge that one of their, I think their squad leader got hit with, but pretty much they were all cleared of war crimes because it didn't happen the way that people said it happened. They had alleged that one of their people was killed, and in revenge, they, in a murderous rage, they went into a town and they slaughtered the entire town. Turns out that's not what happened at all. They were leaving the base and they were hit with an ambush immediately after getting out of the line of sight with the base. And the shooters took refuge in a town and they attacked the building and did not know that civilians were inside that building. That's what happened. So they were exonerated. But for years, that was the case that proved Americans were bad. So the chief special warfare operator reacted with tears of joy, emotion, freedom, and absolute euphoria, according to his defense attorney. The break came in the case when special operator Corey Scott said that on the stand that he had killed the ISIS member. Gallagher had stabbed the fighter, but Scott was responsible for the boy's death, he said. He confessed to suffocating him so the ISIS member wouldn't be tortured by other Iraqis who'd been captured. That was his thing. He says, I knew he was going to die anyway. Wanted to save him from waking up to what would happen next. The prosecution presented a witness who told the court that they had seen Gallagher stab the fighter, alleged that he bragged about it afterwards, according to the Washington Examiner. Photographs presented during trial showed Gallagher apparently posing with the body of the ISIS fighter. Again, posing with the body is not considered a war crime, although it is considered unseemly and will get you in some administrative trouble. So he was found not guilty, and there was no way that they could convict him. He was found guilty with one minor charge and was given time served, and so he is free. So this is a huge case. And again, commenting on a case like this, if you're running for president and saying you can't go ahead and pardon people like this, when there's huge problems with the prosecution, and at the time there were well-known problems with the prosecution, made no sense for people to judge to weigh in on. He never should have. He should have said the president has the power to do that, but he needs to weigh all of those things on a case-by-case basis. And if they're justifiable, they're justifiable, but people are convicted for a reason. If he had said that, he wouldn't have had any controversy, but instead he went too far. So Gallagher, again, found not guilty this week. I know that most of you are probably aware of that, but in case you weren't, I wanted to go ahead and convey that to all of you. We've got more coming up on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Well, the prosecution installed it on emails that they thought it was going to, according to them, they thought it was going to identify who had been leaking to the Navy Times. The Navy Times had been getting leaks from the prosecution, and they were publishing some information on the case publicly that they didn't want. So they put this spyware on there, and they didn't tell anybody that they put the spyware on there. So they didn't call the defense team and say, hey, look, there's some spyware on the emails that you're going to be getting. But what it did is allowed them to peer into the defense's computer. So yes, it was a huge problem. Jacob Labounty asked earlier if I talked about the Navy SEAL. I did. I talked about the Navy SEAL. There you go. Let's see. Mom's not having surgery today.
In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Sally Kennedy.
Get your cell phones.
A 3-day weekend. We got to come back. What, Sunday?
Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill in Mishawaka present the most patriotic photo contest. We're collecting patriotic photos of all kinds right now. So the service members in your family, parades, parties, fireworks, your kids or grandkids decked out in red, white, and blue. Anything that's patriotic. Starting July 15th, MNC listeners below the
Yeah, demoted, lost of pay, that sort of stuff.
to us today. Text photo to 45364 or log on to 95.3.
My camera should not be off. My camera seems to be fine.
Fun prize pack to give away, including tickets
Hit refresh.
plus family 4-packs to the South Bend Cubs, Indiana Beach, Deep River.
Welcome back to IT.
Kentucky Kingdom.
Turn it off. Turn it back on.
Camera's back on now. Camera went off. Camera's back on. It's fundly, not fondly. But Chris, if you want to fondly start a crowdfunding campaign, you can do that.
Are you a lifelong learner looking to ensure you're making the very best decisions when it comes to your retirement planning?
Fondly. That sounds like a dating website. God, where was I the other day? There was something on there that we went into a grocery store or something, and it sounded like a dating website. It was a really weird display. They titled it something weird. I mean, it made my wife actually laugh out loud. So it was clearly funny when I said it.
Well, it's okay. They now have a Magnum brand name ice cream. Has nothing to do with the...
Magnum has been around forever, dude.
Yeah, but have you seen a logo recently?
No, I haven't seen that
They
logo.
changed it around. It's literally golden black. Like, I'm just like, I bet that chocolate chunk sells very well.
We don't have vanilla here. Good Lord.
Our most popular flavor is the delivery boy.
That's funny. It does cater to women, though.
Mm-hmm.
The look of your building, outside and inside, says a lot about you. Whether it's for a thriving business, your hobby, storing your sports equipment, or just the place you call home.
Dude, my internet is just being really weird.
And the work
So
goes beyond just its overall appearance.
I don't know what's going on, folks.
Efficiency and style are what make up the look, design, and feel of your structure. At Borkholder Buildings and Supply, they design all types of buildings, from homes, pole barns, churches, to commercial, and many more. For 55 years, their family-owned business has had the skill and knowledge to transform your idea into a work or living space that reflects you.
Yes, work or living space. Ah, damn it.
Providing people with sustainable,
Casey, you suck.
affordable building solutions through their high-quality components. So if you want your new
You see Taylor?
project to tell others you are about excellence,
Did you evaluate her injuries?
Oh, yeah.
My God.
What? I mean,
God, her dog kicked her
here's
ass,
the
dude.
thing. I didn't know what happened, and so, like, I saw that
Oh,
something seemed wrong.
so you just walked in and it looked like she got beat up.
I mean, you don't say anything. I didn't see the injuries in her arm. I just saw like her lip.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't really comment on that, especially like I can walk up to you and be like, "Dude, what the heck happened to your face?"
Mhm.
Don't do that to a female coworker.
Yeah, she
But yeah, she said she was walking her dog and like, took off on her and whipped her legs out underneath.
Yeah, so our very attractive, very sweet young gatekeeper, her dog, which is 7 months old, I think she said.
Yeah,
It's a German Shepherd.
70 pounds.
And yeah, he's like 70 pounds. She was walking him the other day, and it saw something and it took off, and she went face first into the cement and got drugged. It actually ruined her teeth structure. They had to go in and do surgery and push her teeth back in. And she's got like a rod through her teeth. She said they didn't do any numbing or anything. She's got obviously a busted lip and mouth, and she's got some scrapes all over, man. He did a number on her. So luckily she's okay. She's getting married soon too. So it's like, that was like the first question that I had was, when's the wedding again?
Next month, August.
And nope, September.
September.
Yes. Okay. So she's got a little time to heal. So I was like, oh, okay, well, at least she can heal a little bit. Holy smokes. She should be fine by then. She should be okay, but holy moly. She can't eat with her front teeth for a year, they said. Ooh. She can't even have a hamburger unless she cuts it. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. So a bit of a personal note. Lee Iacocca has passed away at the age of 94. Of course, he's known as being the father of the Ford Mustang. But honestly, his career is so storied. Chrysler's turnaround was because of him. He is one of the most influential people on automobiles in American history. And it's not just the Mustang. Obviously, the Mustang is a big part of that. But he had such a rich career and just a phenomenal dude. Had an opportunity to talk with him once, and just a great guy. So an icon in American automobiles has passed away at the age of 94. All right, I want to talk about my hometown. I promised I would talk about this yesterday. I just ran out of time. They're doing something there that I think is an interesting idea, and maybe it's something that we can do in areas like here, well, frankly, all across the country, especially as we deal with referendums and things like that as funding mechanisms for schools. Las Vegas officials have approved a city plan that would permit drivers with parking tickets to pay their fines with school supplies. This is a great idea.
Frankly, it's amazing.
I mean, it's okay. It's amazing for a couple of reasons. One, it's creative and innovative. Mm-hmm. And two, politicians actually don't want your cash. So the fact that politicians are saying, you know what, no, just do school supplies, and then we can, write this off. The supplies would then ultimately be turned over to area schools for student use. So the proceeds from city parking tickets, not moving violations, but parking tickets, can be paid through a donation of school supplies. In a unanimous vote, the Las Vegas City Council, not known for being reasonable, by the way, They made the allowance for 1 month from July 19th to June 19th to July 19th. And drivers who receive tickets during that time frame will be permitted to make a donation of school supplies that is equal or greater value than their tickets. Drivers with such donations can then drop the school supplies off at the Las Vegas Parking Services office within a period of 30 days from receiving their ticket. So you got 30 days. You get your ticket. You got 30 days to go ahead and drop off the school supplies, and the school supplies have to be of equal or greater value. So you can't just go to the dollar store and grab a couple of pencils if you have a $200 parking ticket. Permissible items include cardstock, disinfectant wipes, erasers, index cards, paper towels, pens, pencil sharpeners, pencils, rulers, storage bins, and sticky notes. Donations will be turned over to nonprofit crowdfunding website Teacher Exchange and repurposed surplus resource center that provides supplies to teachers in Southern Nevada. According to the New York Times, 94% of U.S. public school teachers reported purchasing supplies out of their own pocket during the 2014-2015 school year. Now, and here's the thing. I get that teachers do that, okay? They don't always have to, okay? It just kind of depends on the school district, but they do that, and they do that because they care and they want cool things for their kids, not because it's necessary for the function of their job. For instance, all of the stuff that you guys are watching right now in the live stream, that has been purchased by me. I'm not required to do it, but I did it. Okay, so it shouldn't go against the powers that be that they didn't provide all of this stuff to me. I don't have to do that. I chose to do it, and because I chose to do it, I went out and actually bought the equipment to do it. Certainly would have been nice if I didn't have to buy the equipment to do it, but you can't expect every boss to go ahead and buy everything that you want or even need for the sources of what you want to do. So again, we know that a lot of teachers do that, but it's usually not necessary. There have been circumstances where it was, but usually it's not necessary. It's just because they care about their job and they came up with something cool and they want their students to experience it. And that's awesome that they care that much to come out of pocket to do that. CNN also points out that the month-long program is creative, but isn't the first of its kind. I've never heard of anything like this, but apparently July 2016, the city council has been running occasional programs to accept charitable donations in place of parking fines. So I hadn't heard about that. I wasn't aware of it, but obviously I haven't lived there in 9 years or so. But I think it's cool, and I don't think it should be a 1 month thing. I honestly think that should probably be a running thing that a lot of cities should be doing on a regular basis, especially if they're having funding issues for their schools, to go ahead and help out the classrooms, the teachers, and even the schools themselves save a little dough. And that way they can go ahead and focus on other things that might be a little bit more important. And you know what? Why not extend that out to some moving violations also? You could have certain tiers if you really wanted to, and that could really be a benefit to the community. Anyway, we got a lot coming up. Don't forget to watch us on youtube.com/Casey the Host. While you're there, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Go to twitch.tv/Casey the Host if you prefer to watch there. You can follow or you can subscribe there. And if you have Amazon Prime, you have a free subscription. You might as well use it for my channel. I mean, I'm giving you pretty good content every single day. Got more coming up. 95.3 MNC.
WTRC FM and HD1. Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
Ford Pintos make really good drag cars. A lot of people hate the Pinto, but Ford Pintos make really good drag racing cars.
So Ellen just did this thing called the Churro Muncher. They put 2 college-age girls in a chair, told them they couldn't lift their legs, and dangled the churro slightly above their face. And they had to eat it in a certain amount of time for both of them to win TV.
Who did that?
Ellen just did that. And the only thing I could think to myself, I'm like,
that is extremely sexist.
I'm like, if that were any guy that was hosting that show,
right? Any guy who did that.
They filled it with like red filling, so that way their face is just covered. I mean, it was funny.
I mean,
it's funny.
So biker rallies have been doing the hot dog thing like that forever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they dangle a hot dog, you ride under the hot dog, and the girl has to, try and grab the hot dog with her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been around for a while, but yeah, that's like totally. That is so Me Too violations. But Ellen did it, so she can get away with it.
I just watched it and I thought to myself, I was like, well, Ellen's taking a turn.
Ellen's a different type of guy. Okay, she can get away with those things. All right. $66,453 now. Do we get to take credit for the last couple of $1,000s?
We've had a lot of people on our Facebook page that have said that they donated.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
A group of first responders gave Alvarez's police badge to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who later said he would vote on the legislation later this summer.
How is the AC in the studio today? It's all right. It's functional today. Actually works, so that's good.
It's a comfortable temperature.
Yeah, it doesn't usually work, but it does actually work.
It either doesn't work or works too much.
Yeah, basically. Apparently, everybody is buying those Dodge pickup trucks, which is weird because all I hear is how people don't like the way they look. But they had, yeah. No, Jeep sales are down.
The Gladiator?
No, Ram. Because it's just Ram now. It's not Dodge, but Fiat said that they had their best quarter in 14 years, I think. And it's because of the Ram. People are buying the Ram. Jeep sales actually went down. I was like, how could Jeep sales? Well, first of all, Jeeps are too expensive, but Jeep sales went down when they have that new amazing truck coming out, which we bought one, by the way. Well, we didn't. B100 did, because B100 gets all of the shiny new things, while the rest of us get saddled with,
I have a mobile studio that I haven't even touched yet. It's literally a radio studio on wheels.
Nice.
But of course, I don't have a working phone line, so.
They needed to get a Jeep because Jeep's probably the only thing that could survive the way that they treat vehicles over there. I have never seen a station abuse vehicles the way that they do. And I'm not talking like use and abuse. I'm talking like unnecessarily jack up. I don't know what it is about the B100 staff that they don't take care of their belongings. They have had 3 or 4 new vehicles since I've been here, and everybody else has had 1.
They've only had, that's the same Hummer they've had since.
They had a vehicle before that, though. Okay, so this is the 3rd. I don't remember what the, you sure?
Positive.
Am I thinking of the Bear? I might be thinking.
No, yeah, the Bear has had.
I might be thinking of the Bear. Never mind.
The Bear has had. The Bear used to have 3 vehicles total.
That's probably what I'm thinking of because I remember, yeah, they had a bunch of them for a while.
Yeah, no, the Bear goes through them. But to be fair, we beat the crap out of that Avalanche.
Which was used and jacked by the time that we got it.
It was actually in really good shape.
Was it?
Yeah.
I was told it was kind of messed up when we got it.
Well, the problem was that it was it belonged to a hip hop power station.
Right.
So it had originally 2 12-inch subs in the back with a television that would pneumatically lift.
Right.
The issue then became that when things started going bad, the company that built the thing was not around anymore. And nobody wanted to touch it. So speakers started dying inside the car. We had to replace things here and there. They didn't replace the capacitor on the inside of it. All they had to do was reroute the capacitor back into the main battery, and it would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this because I was the one that went through and figured all this crap out one day.
Right.
I used to take that thing home and tinker with it all the time.
I've heard some stories about what people have done inside of that vehicle, the Hummer.
Yep.
Stories. Stories you all don't want to hear.
I slept in the back of it for 6 hours one time.
Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, man.
We had a
You're
big
pulling,
event.
you're pulling shifts and stuff.
We had a big event, and we had a big day. It was like 3 different remotes, and someone canceled, and the former promotions director basically told me if I didn't show up, I was fired, even though I wasn't on the clock. I was in Lyle, Illinois.
Okay.
I had just been at a water park all day and had severe sun poisoning. I managed to drive myself all the way back from Lyle to drive the PE vehicles around that day.
Well, they just turned 25, right? Was it their 25th birthday yesterday?
Yes.
Or on the 1st?
I mean, this is the 25th birthday, yeah.
Right now.
I don't know if it's today, but
I remember them sending an email out 1 or 2 days ago, so.
But that's the, I mean, they had 2 Hummers back to back. Those were their only 2 vehicles were an H1 and an H2.
That's probably what I'm thinking of is the old Hummer.
Yeah, the H1.
Yeah, because they had an H1 and then they went with the H2.
Yeah, but the
Because I remember when the H2 was brand new.
Well, no, the H1 hasn't been around since.
It was here when I was here, though.
Someone may have brought it.
So I mean, because I remember when that one was brand. I remember when that was brand new, and I've only been here 8 or 9 years.
Yes.
So, so it was still around somehow.
That always freaks me out.
All right, I'm gonna play audio here.
Gotcha. You are on.
All righty.
Boy.
Here we go.
On News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. And I do want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Again, today's Wednesday, which means kids shoot free with a shooting parent. So if you're trying to teach your child responsible gun ownership and how to handle a firearm safely, this is the day to go do that at Second Amendment Arms and Range. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. Again, they will be closed tomorrow because of the holiday. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this because a pastor, actually a group of pastors, went down to the border facility. They toured the exact same border facility like 2 or 3 days before Ocasio-Cortez and the congressional delegation did. And they saw some things there that they wanted to tell everybody about. So this is that pastor talking to, they were on Fox. I don't know who the host is, though. I've never seen them before. So anyway, this is what the pastor said that they saw down at that same exact border facility.
There's abuse in these facilities. There's abuse. This was them on their best behavior, and they put them in a room with no running water, and these women were being told by CBP officers to drink out of the toilet. They were drinking water out of the toilet.
Before Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez visited the Clint border facility on Monday, making those explosive claims, a group of pastors visited the same Clint, Texas facility on Friday, and they have a drastically different take on the conditions. Joining us now in studio is one of those pastors from Redemption to the Nations Church, Pastor Kevin Walls. Pastor, let's be clear about something. There is a unbelievable surge at the border, and so facilities that are usually holding about 400 to 500 are holding well in excess of 1,000, sometimes 2,000. It's not a good situation. But based on what you saw, is it the same as what the Congresswoman says?
So let's be clear. We definitely need to do what we can to improve the living situations there. But the pastors and I that walked through that detention center, first of all, we saw a clean place, a safe place, a place stocked with food. And the idea that abuse was going on there is something that we just didn't find any sign of. In fact, the border agents that we met were very kind, considerate, compassionate people. And so we were kind of astounded at the report and the reality that we experienced as we walked through the Clint facility.
The deputy commissioner of the CBP told me that they hold their agents to the highest standards of conduct. What did you see in there? Was that standard being held in the facility you were in?
Yeah, we saw bins of toys that the actual agents had brought for the kids to play with. I saw stacks of movies that were personal movies that the agents brought for the kids to watch. We saw agents holding children. This notion that there was abuse and, again, outlandish behavior going on by these agents was just not, it was not just something that we saw anywhere in any room at any time on that premise. There was no sign whatsoever of that kind of behavior.
And Pastor, what you saw in terms of overcrowding, it was bad.
Yeah, and again, let's be clear. This is not an idea situation. This is not what we would want for these precious, beautiful children who are in this very, very difficult situation. We would want to improve that. But again, we went in as an intervention because of the report that we had read. I went with Dr. Sam Rodriguez from the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference. So we went in to see what was going on, to see if there's anything we could do to help these children. And while there are certainly improvements that we could make and should make, and hopefully will make now that we have appropriated the money from Congress, there was just not a minuscule speck of evidence of abuse of any kind going on in that detention center.
Specifically, 2 quick points of the Congresswoman's attacks. One, did you see anything that would lend itself to a racism charge? And 2, did you see anyone drinking or being told to drink from toilets?
Absolutely no on the racism. And the reason is because the agents there are first of all, most of them were Latino brothers and sisters. And the notion that there was this racism was not founded anywhere. And the idea that anyone was drinking out of a toilet, totally absurd.
Pastor, we're almost out of time.
Sure.
Quickly, is it your conclusion then that the Congresswoman is not being honest about her depiction of what she saw?
Well, here's the deal. The Congresswoman is entitled to her opinion, but her opinion should never shape the truth. The truth doesn't have a side. The truth stands on its own. And people with integrity have got to make up their mind to stand on the side of truth. And the facts that we saw were there.
Okay, so this pastor, by the way, has been an advisor to multiple presidents, including President Obama. So there's a lot of people go, well, he's been an advisor to President Trump. Yeah, but he's been an advisor to several presidents, including 2 previous presidents. So it's obviously nothing that's unusual. He said, look, we got a report that they were being treated horribly. We went down there. We toured the exact same facility that Ocasio-Cortez did a couple of days beforehand, and just was not true. So then there was, Reverend Samuel Rodriguez was full of indignation when he saw the reports and heard from politicians about the deplorable and inhumane conditions for illegal immigrants in the El Paso County, Texas Migrant Detention Center. But what he saw at the same facility was drastically different. The president of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, this is a different pastor than the one that you just heard on Fox News. This is a different one, okay? The world's largest Hispanic Christian organization, senior pastor of New Seasons Christian Worship Center in Sacramento, shared his firsthand experience touring the migrant detention centers during a press briefing on Monday. I read the reports. I saw the news clips. I just wanted to see what was actually happening in order to better enable our efforts to find a fair and a just solution for our broken immigration system. Now, he's advised President Trump and both Presidents Obama and George W. Bush on immigration reform, by the way. He says, to my surprise, I saw something drastically different from the stories that I've been hearing in our national discourse. Even as a veteran of immigration advocacy in the U.S., I was shocked at the misinformation of the crisis at the border. So again, we found no soiled diapers, no deplorable conditions, no lack of basic necessities, Rodriguez remarked, adding that he specifically asked border agents if they staged the facility in response to the negative press. They unequivocally denied it, which, by the way, makes total sense considering that people have been touring these facilities for a couple of years now, and they keep saying the same thing. No deplorable conditions. They do have a couple of politicians who snuck in there and decided to go ahead and take some video footage. And what you did find is that there was a crowded space where they were sleeping in their common area. Okay, that happens. You realize every single month the population of the city of South Bend, Indiana, comes across the border illegally. Every single month, 100,000 people come across that border illegally. Okay, so you've got, again, Pete Buttigieg is out there. Somebody needs to ask him this. He's like, what's your plan to deal with the equivalent of your entire city coming across the border every single month? And the facilities there being completely over encumbered by all of this. And I would be interested to see if he actually has an answer beyond send them to South Bend, which he said the last time that we had 30,000 of them available. So this is interesting. So you heard from Pastor Carlos Moran, by the way. That's who you heard from. But also Reverend Samuel Rodriguez, who, again, was with him, said the exact same thing. Nobody is telling the truth about the condition of these facilities. It is simply not true. Yesterday, I addressed the toilet situation. But if you didn't hear that, I suppose you can go back and listen to it. 574-25-95, 95.3. Doug, welcome to the program. Good afternoon. Yeah. Doug, you there? Doug. Okay. We'll go on to Andrew. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Casey.
Hi there.
Hey, so I seen you posting about the AOC thing, 5 or 6 hours ago on Facebook. I tried commenting with the meme of the classic meme with the raptor and the claw underneath the chin, just questioning things. I was trying to comment, how can people be drinking out of the toilet when there's no running water?
This is what everybody keeps asking. This is a fair question to ask. Because you can have a urinal situation with no water, but I am unaware of a toilet that is commonly used on the surface of the earth that doesn't use water to flush solid waste. So
nobody in their right mind is going to drink if it's solely for urinal purposes. Nobody's going to drink out of that.
Correct. Now, I suppose they could be talking about two different areas of the facility where, maybe there's an initial holding tank or something like that where they don't have that stuff and you've got to take them out into another part of the facility where you do have the toilets. I don't know. Something else I also pointed out yesterday is that a lot of these toilets at these facilities, they have a sink on top. Okay, so when people ask, where's the water? You go, no, the sink is on top. So it's right there on the toilet. And then you get somebody go, they told us to drink out of the toilet. No, they didn't tell you to drink out of the toilet. They told you to drink out of the clean, potable water on top of the toilet, which is a totally separate thing. And listen, I've used those facilities. They're actually fairly common at a lot of the older truck stops in the country. They're certainly common in detention facilities. And I've seen a couple of schools that have actually had them. So, it's nothing unusual. It's nothing weird. It's just that if you have a language barrier or you have somebody who's trying to manipulate something for political reasons, they could easily distort that into being, they told us to drink out of the toilet, when in fact it's really just a sink with potable water.
That just leads right to the point that I want to get at is, growing up, I'm 30 years old. I'm from Goshen. And I remember growing up, Saturday mornings watching the classic Acme cartoons, Bugs Bunny and all that.
Sure.
You understood that, it was just for fun, for entertainment. They would do outlandish things, do and say outlandish things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is becoming, and at least in my opinion, I'm sure a lot of other people's opinions, this is becoming the face of the Democratic Party, especially with AOC and the media just giving her the limelight just to everything. And it's rather ridiculous.
Well, what's so laughable is that she's so easily proven wrong. and yet people still buy into it. That's your tribalism in a nutshell, right there.
That's tribalism, and that is the ultimate tragedy.
Yeah.
And you wonder why, Trump won in the first place, because, the Democratic Party, they're so far outreaching toward the left, and it's like, okay, let's try to get back to a little bit of common sense here. And there's quite a few things Trump has done that.
Look, everybody's good and bad, dude. And all I've asked, I asked this with George W. Bush too. There's plenty there that's actually bad. Can you just focus on that instead of manufacturing things that don't exist? That's all I'm saying. And if we can do that, then maybe you can actually hold somebody accountable. But the moment you start fabricating things about them, it's not going to do you any favors. And then people aren't going to take you seriously. You're basically the boy who cried wolf or the girl who cried wolf, and nobody's going to listen to you. We have to get away from that. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hey, I got to roll, man. Appreciate the call, though.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
All right.
All Doug wanted to say was that Rush Limbaugh literally said the same thing that you did. Apparently there is a parking fine donation locally system.
Okay.
That's the caller on line 1. He knows about that.
So Rush said the same thing that I said.
About the toilets with the tank on the top.
Oh.
Do you want me to tell this guy to hold on?
Did Rush listen to my show yesterday?
Probably.
Okay. Or is he going to say that I stole it from Rush today, even though I said it yesterday?
I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, just let the guy go. I'm not going to go back to that other thing.
Okay.
So, but thank you for the information.
Hey, Jack. Sorry to have you on hold there for so long. We got to kind of move on. We're getting pretty slammed with calls here. What's the details on that? I'll write it down and we can share it later in the show.
Drier into Sunday, sunny with a high of 80. Nice weather as we go into next week. We'll see highs.
Okay, so the actual students that get parking fines on campus can actually just turn in canned goods.
Oh, okay. Students. Interesting.
Oh, okay. So anybody. Nice.
That the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so.
Oh, that's awesome.
The special counsel has clearly demonstrated that President Trump is lying.
It's not really refutable. We have to hold those responsible.
Many constituents want to impeach the president.
That is really cool. More places need to do that. I mean, seriously, we talk about food shortages and stuff. How many more people would be willing to put $50 into a bunch of canned goods at the grocery store instead of going to an office and paying a fine?
Favorite vapor products that help adult smokers switch, but may also appeal to youth.
Nothing rusts as bad as Toyota's, Dean.
Nice. All right, Jack. Hey,
I know firsthand.
Have a happy 4th.
Over 90,000 traditional retail stores. Learn more about Jewel Labs.
University of Notre Dame, if you ever get a parking fine on campus, you can actually donate canned goods.
Interesting.
To pay for it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I didn't know that.
He said not many people do.
Guys, waking up over and over to pee is not
Oh, Rush said it yesterday. So somebody called Rush and told him that yesterday. Okay.
ingredients in super beta.
Casey, stop copying Rush Limbaugh. Uh-huh. You know what's interesting? Every time this is what's so funny about this. Every time Rush or Hannity says something like the same day or the day before I say it, I get people going, you just took that from Rush. When I say things weeks in advance of them, nobody calls them and go, Casey Hendrickson said that a couple of weeks ago. Like, you should totally have him on your show. Nobody ever says that.
Well, Rush Limbaugh doesn't take guests because he doesn't like someone.
Yes, I know people go, when are you going to fill in for Rush? I'm like, never. I'm too good. So, sorry, I don't mean to sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but Rush doesn't allow, you never let somebody who's really, really good fill in for you. So.
Well, you don't allow guests. He doesn't allow guests because he doesn't like to be challenged.
Sure. Well, there's that, and people don't really listen to guests. I don't like lots of guests. I really don't. I think it's irritating, and I think it's a crutch for weak hosts to use. If their entire show needs a guest or they have no content, I don't respect that person as a host. It's one thing if you're doing a news wheel and you have to have them, but if a talk show host is just nothing but guests nonstop every day, it drives me bonkers. Especially if it's the same 3 people, Sean, all week long. Makes me nuts.
with Inspired Homes. We call our teams DOTS. DOT stands for Defenders of Truth. We want to defend whatever truth is right for our clients. Sometimes there's hiccups in transactions, and you have to really work hard to make sure that
Look, if you don't want rust on your vehicle, you go to Z-Bar to South Bend every year and you get your undercoating done. So the first time you get it done, they'll do the full jobber, and then they just have to do a refresh every year when you go in there, and it's a lot cheaper. Your factory rust prevention does not last permanently, people. It doesn't do that.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. So here's the thing. All right. If somebody else, some other host says something an hour or two before me, and you feel the need to call me and tell me that they said the same thing, and I'm not saying that this person was going to do that because I don't know what they're going to say. They're probably just going to look like, I can back you up because somebody else said that. But I do get this a lot. Like, oh, you know what? So-and-so just said that same exact thing. Can you do me a favor and at least call them and tell them that I said something when I say it weeks in advance? Because that happens a lot. That would be great. And then you can get my name out there. That would be awesome. I'm not the only person who has seen these toilets. I mean, these toilets, they exist. They're commonplace. That's what's so strange about it. They're commonplace where you have the sink on the top of the toilet. Maybe if you come from a third world cesspool and you've never seen that kind of advanced technology, which has been around for a long time, then maybe you are confused by it. But it is totally clean, potable water. So this is a lot of older schools who still even have them. One of the schools that I attended had that. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, what is this? And it's like, so you go to the bathroom and then you just wash your hands. It's the weirdest thing. But it exists. You don't have to worry about all the extra space or infrastructure for sinks anywhere else. Anyway, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. Cue my audio again. Representative Crenshaw also had some things to say about Ocasio-Cortez and her flat-out lies about what was happening at the border facility.
Entertainment facilities called out by one official as a ticking time bomb. In a new DHS watchdog report today, MoveOn.org organized Close the Camps protests in 180 places across the country. Here, some of them, most of them were fairly small.
Family separation is torture. It is un-American and it is illegal.
This is wrong. This is disgusting. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. With immigrant rights, they're under attack.
All right, so today, Brandon Judd, head of the National Border Patrol Council, urging the CPB to release the video of the visit to their facilities from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. He wants everybody to be able to see what she saw when she was in there. The Congresswoman said that she felt threatened by the officers there. They claim the opposite. They say that she was screaming at them and harassing them while she was there. Today, she wrote, I can't understate how disturbing it was that CPB officers were openly disrespectful of the congressional tour. If officers felt comfortable violating agreements in front of their own management and superiors, that tells us that the agency has lost all control of their own officers. Here now, Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas. Congressman, great to have you with us today. First of all, your reaction to that back and forth between the Congresswoman and these officers.
It's sad to see she's getting bolder with her lies on this. And this is what's actually happening. And this is what the American people need to understand. People like AOC are operating off of a false premise, and it's deliberately designed to misinform the American people for her own political ends, right? Remember, first, there was no crisis at all. OK, then it was a manufactured crisis. Then it was a crisis completely created by Trump. Then there were concentration camps. Then people are Nazis. Now she's saying that Border Patrol agents harassed her and forced migrants to drink out of toilets. This is insanity. This is not true. There's no one else corroborating these kind of reports, and yet she's using it to try and make her case that we shouldn't have any enforcement and that we should have open borders. This is really dishonest behavior from a member of Congress, and I honestly can't believe it.
I mean, Cory Booker said essentially the same thing today, that he wants no holding facilities along the border. So I'm not sure exactly where they think everybody is going to go or how that's going to work. Joaquin Castro also running for president. He took a video when he was in there. Let's put that up. He said that this moment captures what it's like for the women who are in custody there. I'm sorry, that this is Representative Joaquin Castro, who is not running for president, but is a representative. And he took this video when he was in there. Obviously, these are very crowded conditions. Also, let's put up now the DHS photos, which were released today by the watchdog agency. And these are clearly, Congressman Crenshaw, very overcrowded, very untenable situations.
Of course, and these Democrats need to have a reasonable, logical conversation, engage in some problem solving, and then offer an actual solution. Because what they're really doing is trying to stand on their moral high horse and sling arrows at everybody else while not offering a solution. Let's not forget, they fought us tooth and nail against that $4.5 billion of humanitarian aid that the president needed, that DHS needed, that HHS needed in order to better conditions at these facilities. They fought us for months on this. They said there was no crisis. We asked for a vote in the House 17 times. They refused to do it. And it's funny, Castro puts this video out. AOC talks about these things. I don't see them offering up any other space in their own homes, right? They're not offering a better solution. They're not saying, hey, why don't we put them all up at a hotel? They don't say that. What they really want is no enforcement. And this is the crux of it. They don't talk about what the actual problem is, which is tens of thousands of people coming across and overwhelming our system. Okay. And then they have to answer the question, should we have a system at all? And they say no. Well, then what is the point of even having a border? Why even have customs agents at airports if we're not going to enforce any kind of management over who comes in and out of our country? They don't want to answer these tough questions because in the end they want open borders.
I asked Bernie Sanders in the town hall that we did, where does he think we should put these individuals, and suggested the possibility that had been talked about, whether or not they should go to cities that are, very open to immigrants. They're sometimes called sanctuary cities. He said that was ridiculous, that it was a silly question. Look at these people. This isn't a silly question. They need to go somewhere. You raised an interesting point. Why don't they allow more private donation and, charitable organizations in the country to get involved in this? Can you answer that briefly for me, if you could?
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up, because we just submitted a letter today to DHS with bipartisan co-signers asking this exact question. There are certain laws that get in the way of private donations for government, but in the case of humanitarian aid, it should be legal, and we should be accepting these kind of donations. Americans do want to help. We are a generous country, and we do want to help. So let's make it easier. Let's help get the resources that we need down there, and help instead of demonizing our men and women who work at DHS, let's help them.
And again, I'd like to point out that even I think Castro was the one that smuggled the images out of the facility because he turned on his cell phone. He wasn't supposed to turn on his cell phone. He smuggled them out. And even then, it was like, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, he took a picture of the shower, like, oh, that shower is small. Looks like an RV shower. This is a temporary facility. What do you expect? It's a shower. There's nothing bad about it. And then, there's a bunch of women who were in somewhat cramped quarters with one another. But what do you expect? They're overcrowded. That's the point. You wouldn't provide funds. Okay, they had to be drugged, kicking and screaming to provide funds for this thing after they got trapped with their arguments. And we're now in a position where there's just too many people. This is the whole point of the president wanting Mexico to keep the asylum seekers on their side of the border, and why we've now changed things to allow Mexico to offer that asylum. And if Mexico offers that asylum and those people refuse Mexico's offer, they automatically cannot apply here in the United States because they've been offered safe harbor and they chose not to take it. And again, we have to point out that the vast majority of the people who are seeking asylum here don't qualify for it. They disappear. Over 90% of them disappear. They never come back for their court date when they're finally forced to be released after the initial period of holding, because we have catch and release again. We can't indefinitely detain anybody anymore. And they don't come back. So 90% of them are just in the country. They're just doing their thing. And so until you do something to fix that, this is going to continue to be a problem. There's actually a couple more things I want to say about this. I'm going to play some audio from Jay Johnson, who, of course, worked under the Obama administration, because a picture of him with the cages, came up because, again, the cages didn't start with the Trump administration. In fact, they're rarely used in the Trump administration. Kids are like never kept in those cages now. But there are fenced-in areas where people are being housed. Those aren't cages, but I digress. So he talked about that. He was asked about it at a recent interview, and his response is very interesting. And I think everybody needs to hear it. So that's coming up and much more on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
All right, folks, I'll be right back. I got to go grab a refill of coffee. We are not working tomorrow, correct? Boss?
As far as I know. I was not told that we were.
As far as I know, that means that third in line
Has to come in if something's wrong.
third in line says I don't have to be here tomorrow. So
Well,
till I hear otherwise. Oh yeah, 5-star came in today.
to record John.
Yeah.
Is that
So I walked in and I stayed in the studio and it was like 12:30 or something. Oh, but no, it's 5-star and they're like recording with the phone. I'm like, oh, is it supposed to be like, I supposed to be here? So I'm like, message for it. So I found this week. So we're supposed to meet you here? Like, no, John sent the email, we just didn't get it. I have it, I just didn't see it, and so we just came in. So they had 2 guests. I'm thinking this whole time, like, someone forgot to tell me that they were recording.
Oh, jeez.
We have a list of local fireworks displays, by the way, at 953mnc.com, as well as more of the interview with Jen Goebel.
Fox News, I'm Steve Rappaport. Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher sentenced to a demotion and 4 months confinement for posing in a photo with a dead ISIS prisoner. Gallagher already served more than that before his court-martial trial.
We were certainly hoping for a different sentence, but at the same time, that's not something that's finalized. There's still a lot of post-sentencing procedures to go through.
Defense attorney Tim Parlatore, Gallagher was acquitted of murder and other charges. Playing with fireworks or playing politics on the 4th of July.
President Trump and Hendrickson said this will be the show of a lifetime. Critics say the president is misusing public funds and police information on nonpartisan events. All of this, the military vehicles that have been rolled in this morning.
Available today at the Prime Table in Niles.
Home comfort experts, your air conditioning professionals for 24 tests.
Muggy this evening, but mostly dry. If you have any fireworks plans, should you go just an isolated shower or storm. Lows will stay around 70. Muggy tonight, hot and humid on the 4th of July. Partly cloudy with high 60. Isolated shower and storm likely again by the evening. The ABC 57 reporting Neighborhood Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Coon.
News protected by CX Gun, your single source for personal protection. Visit them on 3rd Street in Goshen and check out their full line of quality handguns, shotguns, rifles, accessories, and more.
What if this was a loved one?
911. Someone tried to break into my home. They're right at the front door. We're notifying the authorities. I'll stay on the line with you until they arrive. What could that do?
CX Gun is your single source for personal protection. Stop in today for the largest selection of handguns, AR rifles, ammunition, accessories, and personal protection solutions. Over 2,000 guns in stock today. Best prices, guaranteed. CX Gun, located in downtown Visit them online at cxgun.com. Protect yourself and loved ones today at CX Gun.
Get the most out of summer with up to 50% off entertainment at MyDealsMichiana.com. At MyDealsMichiana.com, you can find huge discounts on group activities, concerts, and radio station events. With new deals being added all the time. Right now, you can track discounts and adventures and choose
There's a video of a guy on Reddit that's going viral right now. There's a contractor got hired for a job. Didn't say what. He drove 100 miles to get there to do this job in a Tahoe that he affixed a giant Confederate flag to the back of and drove the whole way there.
Okay.
He gets there, and the African American homeowners look at him and be like, "Hey, just want to let you know we're going to go with somebody else. It's like we don't want to be mean or anything. You believe what you need to believe, but
They were contractors?
yeah. The contractors were the ones flying the flag. And he's like, hey, just so you know, we're going to go with somebody else, and you believe what you want to believe, but this just isn't going to work out.
Yeah.
And the guy just stands there because he's like shocked, and you can't see the video up front, so I expected it to be like, oh well, if this is just like a sticker or something, this is a bit ridiculous.
Mhm.
No, it was a full-size freaking flag in the back of the truck. I'm like, dude, as a private contractor, you got to know better than that. That's bad business.
Mixing business and politics, man. That's why we keep telling celebrities, like, there's a reason you're pissing people off. You have a right to say it. It's just not wise. Yeah, I saw that blackface story earlier today. What the hell is that guy thinking?
Dude, Jared Lorenzen died.
I know that name.
That's because he was the gigantic 300-pound quarterback that came out of Kentucky. Remember him? He played for
Yes,
the
yes.
Was it the Mississippi River Monsters, the AFL?
Yeah, I think so.
Passed away at 38.
Hi, this is Dwayne Miller with Good Faith Management, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast and for a fair price,
Apparently he had a Super Bowl ring. I didn't know that.
Oh, really? What's up, Jimtown? Jimtown sneaking into the stream on me.
He got up to 600 pounds.
Yeah, I was, no wonder he did. Newsflash, weighing 600 pounds is not healthy.
294-5678. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant will pay me the rent houses. If you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars
Okay, so, okay, I did that one.
I buy vacant houses.
He apparently did a documentary called 13 Pounds at Birth.
If you own a house that want to sell it,
So he was just big forever.
Yeah.
He was just born big.
5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574-294-5678.
Crazy. I was watching a thing on Steve McNair a couple of months ago. I'd forgotten how big he was.
Yeah. That whole thing, the whole Steve McNair situation is just tragic.
It's all a horrible tragedy, but
It's just like Junior Seau and Dave Peterson and all those guys who died too young. Different situation for him, obviously.
sure. But yeah, I'd forgotten because they were talking about, it was his career. It was, not focused on his death, but I'd forgotten how massive he was and how difficult he was to bring down just because of his size.
Well, you've seen the condition that the fridge is in, right? I don't know how much longer we're gonna have him around.
Dude, I am shocked that he is still here.
I'm surprised he made it out to Chicago for the
So am I.
for the celebration.
So am I. Yeah. No, last time I saw him was a few years ago, and I was like, ugh. He's basically bedridden. I mean, holy crap, dude.
Yeah, he's just living off royalties, which isn't a lot.
All right, here we go.
Electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. We'll get to that Jay Johnson audio. I almost said article. Audio here in just a second. First, I got to do some bill paying and then talk to some listeners who've been very patient on hold. Go to Second Amendment Arms and Range. Of course, if you mention me, you get half off your range time. They will be out tomorrow because of the holiday, but they'll be back on Friday. So again, you can save 50%. You also get 10% off in the store. So your targets, your ammo, your accessories, all of that is cheaper, and listener exclusive discounts on firearms. What better way to celebrate America than to buy yourself a new gun? Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. Back to the phone lines we go. We're talking about the border situation. Ocasio-Cortez going out there, and multiple people, including Democrats, were in her party saying, no, there was nothing there about people drinking out of toilet water or anything of that nature. And somebody sent me a text on it, which I also want to address as well. Mark, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hi there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Casey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those toilet sinks You know what? Those are very sanitary. They put those in most correctional states around, correctional facilities around the country for us.
Yep.
Okay. When I say us, I say the so-called white people. Everybody wants to, separate everything from, and it's not what they're thinking. They also put them in the mini houses. If people are going, sizing down.
Yeah, these small. That's right. They are. They're doing these in these little houses. Yeah.
They'd really get upset if they seen the ones people are using that have the washers, dryers on the side, and the toilet on the other side with the sink.
Which is common in Europe. In Europe, it's very common to have that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm very upset with the way these Democratic politicians are playing on this. They're dividing my country. I serve my country, a disabled vet, and I'm very upset the way they're dividing it and playing games for their political career. And I appreciate the person that said, why don't they have all these illegals go to their city? Pete Buttigieg wants them here in South Bend because Pete Buttigieg is leaving South Bend, he thinks. Just like,
well, if he doesn't
win the election because he's saying he's the only first openly homosexual presidential candidate. And the fact is, he's not going to win. He has no chance.
Well, somebody asked me this.
Americans here.
Somebody asked me this the other day, and they said, "What is he going to do if he doesn't win?" And I said, "I don't know, but he'll move. He's not going to live here. I don't anticipate him living here." So now there's several of us who have bets on where he's going to move to. I have D.C., or at least in the D.C. metro area. So it'll be interesting to see what's happening. But you're right. I mean, she is dividing the country, and others are dividing the country. We're at a point now we can lie about people in order to try and win elections instead of just debating the issues. That's the problem. And, we've got enough issues to actually deal with that we have to fix. And we don't need to be making things up about people. Let's just talk about what's happening. Let's give our ideas for how to fix it, and then let the American people decide who has the best ideas for the problem that we have to deal with at that time, and let them vote for it. I wish we had a situation where we had a good Republican and a good Democrat, maybe even a good third-party candidate where we were all struggling to make the decision. But right now, it just isn't the case.
Well, you can see a struggle with the Democratic Party. I actually don't take offense. I don't really care if people do. I'm disabled vet. That's why I serve my right to speak. But the Democrats become the Communist Party in my eye because they're destroying our country. No borders. Come on. We were overseas and we went into the different countries. By accident, we were literally arrested. And when we were flying and they thought we were too close to their airspaces, they literally shot us down. So America is only strong as her borders and her people's love for each other. And I keep trying to tell everybody, we need to stop this black, white, Mexican thing. We're all bleed red. Trust me. I was in the military. Everybody bleeds red. So we're American, red, white, and blue. And so I'm just so upset with the way this summer is turning into this drama thing between the border situation and everything else. I wish the president would take my brothers and sisters from overseas and put them on our border and protect our country first and take care of that. And then these people would not even try to attempt to come across until the Democrats will change these loopholes and all this stuff because, I was involved with getting ran over by a guy on my motorcycle, and he didn't have to pay the bill because he went back to Mexico.
Yeah,
so,
I understand.
That doesn't make me a racist because I have illegals. I'm straight up telling you, I have illegals in my family that I love very much. The difference between them and what's going on is when they came over, they actually stuck to it, and they've actually gone through and got their citizenship and worked very hard and retired. They're U.S. citizens and proud of it. And they are very upset with what's going on, especially with politicians running on the coattails of so-called little Mexican people and Latinos coming across. Like they said, the way this is done, they are saying we're being invaded. They had to do it right. How come nobody else does? When they first did their thing,
well, look,
they went through it.
And you've got the president of El Salvador saying, "Hey, don't blame America for deaths at the border. Blame us. We're the problem here." So it's right. It's the politicians here. They're just trying to win elections. It's disgusting. They're standing on graves of people.
We need to cut them down. Limit it. We got.
I know. Tribalism, though, man.
In the Democratic Party, they don't even talk right to each other.
I get it. Hey, Mark, I got to roll. I'm late, but I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Thank you.
You take care. You too. I know it's maddening and it's frustrating. And in between elections, we say we have to stop doing this. We have to correct the behavior. But look what happens. We go right back into the tribalist mentality when it is out there. And unfortunately, this is going to continue to be an issue until the people who are radicalized like this do not have success. And until they don't have success, this is going to be a campaign strategy. It's that simple. A lot of people say, why do they always say that Republicans are racist, sexist, homophobes, that they break rules on their taxes and they do all this? Because even though it's untrue, it works with a significant portion of the population. They believe it every single election cycle, and that the Republicans have only nominated racist, anti-Semitic people who hate women. They believe that because they've repeatedly been told this over and over again. There's no pause for them to go, yeah, it seems unlikely that a political party would only nominate these types of people every single election cycle. And yet every single election cycle, they are accused of being the exact same things. And absent evidence, we all seem to buy into it. So until that changes, folks, we're going to have to continue to deal with this. I know that some people think that if the Democrats lose the next election, that will break it and we'll start getting back to normalcy. I think that they will triple down, and I think Pelosi will lose power. As much as I don't like Pelosi, she's better than AOC. But the AOC wing is coming. They are trying to take over, and they might very well be able to. You never know. Got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Michiana's news channel is everywhere. The top news and issues on Facebook and on Twitter.
Oy. Yeah, he had some things to say, didn't he?
That was the proverbial Pandora's box.
That's it. Warren's got it. Warren's dialed in. So we've been talking about this for too long, and the playbook is exactly the same. Yeah, so let me pull it up. So 2 days ago, it is our fault. El Salvador's president takes blame for migrant deaths in the Rio Grande. The president of El Salvador was addressing the plights of thousands of his fellow citizens who immigrate each year, including a father and daughter who drowned last week while trying to cross into the United States. When he did something rare among leaders in the region, he took responsibility. People don't flee their homes because they want to, the president said. Bukele, I guess is his name. He said this Sunday at a news conference in San Salvador, the capital of El Salvador. They flee their homes because they feel they have to. They fled El Salvador. They fled our country, he declared. It is our fault. So I'll put it in the daily show prep in case you all wanted to look at it. Again, I have a nasty habit of just assuming that people know a lot of the things that I see. So my apologies. Just kind of assume that people had seen that.
Sorry,
Yep. For patients in need. And thank you for donating now. The South Bend Medical Foundation will give you a pizza and a gas card.
Had to readjust my belt again today.
It's our way of saying thanks. Donating is easy and only takes a few moments. Make an
Which way?
appointment today at one of our donor centers.
Tighter.
Okay, the good way.
So we're now officially, after the new adjustment, we're now officially to the point that my pants don't fit unless they're folded.
So I think that means it's time for new pants.
Yeah, so the waist is actually like, you know how it does the little wavy crunch up thing when you have them too big? So you have to fold it over so you don't get irritated. You forgive me, Rhonda. Thank you so much.
I actually need to go up a waist size. I never thought I'd say that.
Well, I mean, nothing wrong with having a little extra.
30s are coming.
Oh, dude, it'll hit you once you get there, whether you want to or not.
I'm almost a 165. This is the heaviest I've been in my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm almost a normal person weight.
Almost. You're getting there.
If you owe over $10,000 in credit card debt or even personal loans, call 800-518-5019. There are no upfront fees or out-of-pocket expenses. You don't pay a dime until we succeed.
A fecal sandwich is better than AOC. There you go, David.
Imagine owning a home where the energy you use every day comes from the sun.
Oh my God, there's a house on Black Squirrel that, I kid you not, has 30 solar panels on the top of it. Now, granted, they're in a spot with no cover.
Mhm.
The sun isn't, I mean, it's 100% perfect. I've golfed there every Sunday for like ever.
Mhm.
And I would totally do it if I were them. But literally the whole backside of their house is just solar panels. I thought to myself, I'm like, I wonder how many support beams they had to install to make this happen. 'cause
They're
those
not
things-
light.
Those things
They are not light. Yeah, you've got to construct for them. That's for sure.
I really want to just dress up one day and pretend to be a solar panel salesman and pretend like I have no idea that stuff's on the back of their house.
Right.
Hey, can I interest you in solar panels?
They'll help you build a zero energy home. Find more info at newenergybuildings.com.
All right, so I will be doing the Jay Johnson audio here.
You're good to go.
The other two didn't go through. Are you getting blacklisted? There's some language filters on the chat, so that's probably why. Comment.
Rick Astley was doing an AMA this morning.
Risky move.
But he's not doing it anymore. Basically, he gave you up.
He gave me up.
Yeah.
Me?
He said he was never going to give you up.
Oh, gotcha.
He's
I
not
got
doing the
you.
AMA anymore, so he
Sorry, gotcha.
had to give it up.
I didn't do lunch. I did a big breakfast and I didn't do lunch. Sorry.
I'm
hitting my wall. I'm like my stomach is like meat.
I had the Taco Bell steak quesadilla. It was actually pretty good. The breakfast one.
I had 2 sirloins last night, and then I had a sirloin with an egg this morning. It was awesome.
You've never had one of my steaks. I need to grill that for you.
Yeah, buddy. As long as it doesn't have sauce on it. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Okay, I want to play this Jay Johnson audio. For those of you who are still completely clueless about what's going on, the kids in cages thing didn't happen under this administration. It happened under the previous administration, and it wasn't even entirely their fault. It wasn't a malicious thing, okay? And I keep trying to say this. They in 2014, we had a huge rush of these unaccompanied minors. The whole country was talking about it. They were pouring into the country. Nobody knew what to do with them because you can't just turn them over to people. And so what ended up happening is we were treating the kids if we could. That's another thing I got to tell you about, too. There is an unknown disease now at the border that the CDC is concerned about. So they were treating the kids and then they were releasing them to so-called relatives in the United States, but they weren't vetting the relatives. So we ended up finding out that several of them were actually given to traffickers because things were moving so quickly and they weren't able to decipher what was going on. So the process had to slow down after we realized that, okay, we're turning kids over to criminals and that can't happen anymore. So the process has slowed down somewhat in order to protect these kids, but there's still too many of them. So this is Jay Johnson talking about the cage policy under the previous administration, because again, it existed then. It's not something that Trump created because he hates people. And if you are going to say that he hates people and that's why he did it, you would have to say the same thing about the Obama administration if you're consistent. And of course, it's absurd either way. So this is Jay Johnson talking about that in a recent interview.
I want to let you respond directly to some criticism that's circulating this week. There's a photograph from 2014 that has suddenly gone viral again this week that shows you at a holding facility walking past what appears to be children in cages. Would you take us to that moment? What was the situation that day? And when you look at this photo that is now circulating now and being used as part of the Trump administration's argument that they inherited a bad situation that you guys set up.
Very clearly, chain link, barriers, partitions, fences, cages, whatever you want to call them, were not invented on January 20, 2017. Okay? And what's interesting is Tom Homan made that statement. Well, they were used in the
Homan,
Obama
we should mention, served in the Obama administration and is now
under normal
auditioning for a job
circumstances,
under
to
Trump.
fact check that, I would have called Tom Homan, who was the director of ICE ERO while I was secretary, to say, hey, Tom, did you guys use these things for ICE facilities? So the photograph you're referring to was a facility in Arizona. I recognize the photograph because Governor Brewer was with me, and it was during the spike, and we had a lot of unaccompanied kids, we had a lot of family units, and under the law, once they're apprehended by the Border Patrol, within 72 hours, we have to transfer unaccompanied children to HHS. And HHS then puts them in a shelter and they find placement for them somewhere in the United States. But during that 72-hour period, when you have, something that is a multiple, like 4 times of what you're accustomed to in the existing infrastructure, you've got to find places quickly to put kids. You can't just dump 7-year-old kids on the streets of McAllen or El Paso. And so these facilities were erected, and that one was, I think, a large warehouse, and they put those chain link partitions up so you could segregate young women from young men, from kids from adults, until they were either released or transferred to HHS.
So again, that's the former director of Homeland Security under the Obama administration talking about it and why they had to do it. Like I've said before, it's not a nefarious thing when I say that the Obama administration did it. I know that others are using it that way to attack them. But what is happening at the southern border now, and what happened then in 2014, they just don't have the facilities to handle these people. So the solution is preventing them from getting here to begin with, so they're not having to deal with those conditions. That's what the president's been trying to do, and the Democrats have been fighting him tooth and nail, and some Republicans, particularly in the Senate, have been fighting him tooth and nail on this since he got into the White House. We've got more coming up on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
WTRC FM and HD1, Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
All righty. Doop, 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 doop. Come on.
Can your steaks be marinated, or do they just have to be 100% raw?
I can't have any sugar. So if you've got a marinade with no sugar in it, we're good.
Most marinades don't have sugar in it.
So
most marinades are vinegar.
If you can avoid sugar, we're okay. I mean, generally you try to avoid anything that is plant-based, but a little bit here and there, that's fine. So just kind of depends.
Vinegar, olive oil, that sort of stuff. That's about it. But that sounds good. That's what I really want right now. I have a good, thick, hearty steak in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and you really do start like craving it. Like it's kind of interesting. When you get hungry, your mind says meat. It doesn't say food. It doesn't say treat. It says meat. So like, obviously when you're starving, you're having a normal diet. Your brain is telling your body to get fat, salt, and sugar.
Mm-hmm.
When you're on the carnivore diet, I don't crave that at all. The only craving I have had has literally been for grapes and cherries. So it is simply telling you need meat. You have to get meat in your system right now. So it's really interesting, like just the signals and kind of how they work.
Mm.
It's been very interesting, and it's been super easy. I haven't had any issues staying on the diet at all.
I will say this: I just took my dogs off. We put our dogs on a grain-free diet about 2 months ago.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people are doing that with them.
Well, and it's their energy levels have changed. They're both like their weight hasn't changed much, but they physically look healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that yeah, it's definitely was a good move.
Not a lot of dogs in the wild are running around eating bread.
No.
not exactly their natural. There's a lot to be said. I mean, we didn't naturally eat meat either, but our ability to turn it into food is what saved billions of lives.
Mm-hmm.
To help with the legal defense of Sergeant Ryan O'Neill, and it already raised more than $5,000. FOP President Harvey Mills says they told him the campaign was removed because it was in support of a hate crime, which he called fundamentally wrong. A new campaign is up to raise money for Sergeant O'Neill on a different platform. Mills also said that he finds it offensive they would take down the campaign for an officer that has committed no crime, but continue to allow fundraisers for organizations that support violent groups like Antifa.
That's 95.3 MNC's Darren Wright. Last night, there was yet another development in the ongoing battle to keep Benton Harbor High School.
I had to laugh out loud because when I was at the Field Museum, they have a whole wing devoted to plants, sponsored by Monsanto.
Oh, yeah.
I was laughing so hard. I'm like, this has got to be such a major trigger for people living here. All right. Yeah, so, all right, let me pull up the disease thing for you all, because I may have to mention this too.
They're thinking it's a strain of MRSA. I was reading about that.
Oh, is that what they're thinking?
Yeah. I mean, MRSA is just kind of a general term for a serious bacterial infection that doesn't behave like a normal bacterial infection. Right?
Yeah. I mean, look, TB was basically gone, and now it's back. So there's a lot of diseases that have been introduced here.
Muggy this evening, but mostly dry. If you have any fireworks planned, you go just an isolated shower or storm. Lows will stay around 70. Muggy tonight. On the 4th of July, partly cloudy with a high of 88. Isolated shower and storm likely again by the evening. In the ABC 50.
What's with the giant roll of plastic?
The other day I was in here and I had to package 50 knife sheaths for Fort Bliss.
Gotcha.
And I forgot to take that with me when I went home, and then I couldn't take it with me when I had it on the motorcycle. So
that should be my goal for this summer. Learn how to drive a motorcycle. It's not hard. I know how a clutch works, but
we're gonna do a class Labor Day weekend.
I'd be up for that. If I don't take a vacation that day.
Well, I would chit chat with the powers that be. Chris is the sales guy, and see if you can secure yourself a spot.
Now I'll show up.
Huh? You just show up.
It's like, now I'll just show up. It's fine.
I know he came in. He's like, so like, do you want to ride when you do the class again? Because I've already done the class, right? And I'm like, yeah. I'm not going to go to a friggin' motorcycle class and not get on the damn motorcycle. What the hell's wrong with you? Of course I'm going to do it. He's like, all right, I just had to ask. I'm like, okay.
I had a moped growing up, so it's not like I'm terribly uncomfortable with it, but I imagine it's just a matter of getting used to working a clutch with your foot.
Which I was really worried about that, and it is not an issue. It really isn't an issue. The clutch is with your hand, by the way.
I'm one of only like 10 millennials that can still drive a clutch.
Right. The clutch is with your hand. The shifting is your
Well,
foot.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. Don't get them confused. It'll be a bad time.
You'll have a bad time.
You'll have a bad day. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. A couple of people were asking me about this, the unknown disease thing. And so the medical professionals that are in these Texas migrant areas, they are quarantining several kids who have various types. There's some disease. They don't know what it is. Okay. They think it's a form of bacterial infection, but they're not exactly sure. So they're still researching it. So there's a quarantine that is in effect. And also, they found a 10-year-old girl. Okay. And I'm going to probably talk a little bit more about this later in the week. They found a 10-year-old girl with the, how can I clear this up?
the biological DNA of 20 different men in her. Okay? She's 10 years old. There are migrant women who are saying that they have to keep their kids close because people are offering to buy their children from them because they want to use the kids to get into the United States. And all they have to do is fool the authorities for 72 hours. That's all they have to do. This is why it is so critical that when these family units get to the United States, they verify that they are actually dealing with family. And thousands of these cases have been child traffickers who have kidnapped children or forced them into slavery. And they get to that southern border and they pretend to be family of the kid, and they're not. Okay. And when people are sitting there and saying that we need to speed up this process or get rid of the process altogether, they're literally, whether they realize it or not, they're advocating that kids get trafficked into the United States. And it's something that cannot happen. It's unacceptable. And you look at the sexual assault statistics for people traveling here. This is a 10-year-old girl victimized by at least 20 guys that we know of. It's absolutely horrible what is happening down there. And to play politics with them while accusing the side that's trying to fix it of treating them inhumanely, it's ridiculous. By the way, in the Daily Show prep, because I had a couple of people on the live chat, they did not hear that the El Salvadorian president took blame and told people not to blame the U.S. for the deaths of migrants across the Rio Grande, including that dad and his daughter. I put that in the Daily Show prep for you, too, because on Sunday, he was at a press conference in the capital of El Salvador, and he said it's our fault. So I just want you to look at that, because, again, it's not getting a lot of coverage. People have kind of pointed that out, like, oh, geez, I'm shocked that I haven't been told that in American media. And of course, why would you be told that? All right, 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. Also, they released some data that shows the per year deaths at the Mexico border, and they are lower now than they were under the Obama administration on average. Okay, now obviously we have 2 years versus 8, but just looking at the averages right now, if you think it's bad now, it was worse previously. And a lot of that is going to be driven by the 2014 crisis. And again, the multiple caravans that the media completely ignored up until President Trump became president of the United States. All right. I don't know if I'm going to get to the Dunkin' Donuts story today. I don't know if I want to spend the entire show on immigration. I really don't. It's just one of those things. But 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. I suppose I'm going to have to come back to it at least at 5:30. Because there's a very interesting story about what the administration is doing with illegal immigrants that are in the country. So I suppose I'm going to have to do that. Anyway, Pete Buttigieg has unrolled a national service plan. This would cost an estimated $20 billion, which means it's at least $60 billion. That's what it's going to cost. Remember, every government estimate is 3 times as much, minimum. Okay, it's just always how it works. The Democratic presidential candidate, Pete Buttigieg, unrolled his national service plan that his campaign estimates would cost $20 billion over 10 years ahead of a town hall in Sioux City, Iowa. Military service, Peace Corps service, and domestic service year opportunities through efforts like AmeriCorps should be expanded until service becomes a universal expectation of every American youth. This is right out of Obama's playbook. Obama had this plan. By the way, AmeriCorps is a horrendously fraudulent organization. I used to date somebody who worked at AmeriCorps, and day to day, I saw what was happening there back in the 90s, and I was like, wow, this seems like a giant waste of taxpayer dollars. And then we ended up finding out that there was massive fraud, and that the bureaucrats who were running AmeriCorps were stealing taxpayer dollars and enriching themselves with it. I'm shocked that the program is even still around. I thought it had been completely defunded. Maybe it has been, and he is just trying to bring it back. I'm not really sure, but AmeriCorps was a disaster and ultimately considered a failed program. Buttigieg's campaign is calling the plan a new call to service. It would create a network of 1 million national service members by 2026, which would be America's 250th birthday. So they're trying to make this a whole deal anyway. South Bend, Indiana Mayor connected the plan with his experience as a Navy Reserve lieutenant deployed to Afghanistan, allegedly deployed to Afghanistan. There's some debate about that. And his desire to address what he has described as the threat to social cohesion of the Trump presidency, because there has been no lack of social cohesion before the Trump presidency 2 years ago, right? So it's all Trump's fault. None of this existed beforehand, which begs the question, why did Obama campaign on doing the exact same thing? Which, by the way, he said was be mandatory. So you're going to be drafted into service. And that led to a whole host of, well, really appropriate cartoons written about it. And then eventually they dropped the plan altogether because he was catching some serious negative press about drafting people into public service. Buttigieg's focus on national service should not come as a surprise. He told Rachel Maddow that he hopes national service will become one of the themes of the 2020 campaign. We talked about that back in April. I'm really glad that I did get the chance to serve. It helps me connect with very different Americans. I want more Americans to have that, but I don't want you to have to go to war to get it, he said. Buttigieg's goal is to immediately grow the number of young people in national service programs from 75,000 to 250,000. According to the Des Moines Register, the plan would try to attract students enrolled in high school, community college, and vocational schools. By the way, nothing wrong with volunteering for these programs and getting involved with it. Nothing wrong with service or anything else. I would love, if a program like this were to be implemented, I would love for church programs to be counted because a lot of people go on missions and things like that. That should be counted as well as historically black colleges and universities and other minority-serving institutions. The plan would also target our opportunity youth between the ages of 16 and 24 who are not in school or working. The plan would also create a climate corps, community health corps, and international corps, or intergenerational corps, excuse me. Oh, so there's a whole corps dedicated to something that doesn't exist. All right, there we go. However, Buttigieg isn't the only person in the Democratic field with a national service plan. Former Maryland Representative John Delaney and Massachusetts Representative Seth Moulton have also detailed national service policies, according to the news. So there you go. It's that whole little plan. You head over to his campaign website, which is PeteForAmerica.com. Really weird. He didn't have Buttigieg in his campaign website. What do you think that is, Carl? It could have been edge.com. I mean, he could have done it that way. So don't blame him, by the way. Don't blame him. It would have made it very difficult to get people on board. So anyway, it's time to reclaim the values that drive our policy decisions. Yada, 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 yada. So anyway, you can go there and get the whole spiel if you really wanted to. It's on there, again, PeteForAmerica.com under the issues page where you can go check it out. But again, as long as it's voluntary, I don't have an issue with the government pushing something like that. There's nothing wrong with volunteering or anything of that nature. The moment it becomes mandatory, we start having issues. And that's what Obama had originally pitched, was a mandatory thing. And that can't happen, obviously. 574-25-95-95-3. Another aspect of it is how much taxpayer dollars are going to go into it. And he says $20 billion over 10 years. You can expect it to be a lot more than that. AmeriCorps blew past its budget the first year that it existed and was always blowing past, and that was widely because of fraud. So it's got to be managed. It's got to be handled properly. And as long as that happens, they could be beneficial because there's, again, nothing wrong with service, nothing wrong with giving back to your community, that sort of thing. Yes.
So I have, over the period of my radio career, been a part of a lot of fun stuff. And this is the younger generations. One of the bigger movements is purpose in cause or purpose in service is more important to them than just about anything else right now. Mm-hmm. So what universities they choose, what groups they're a part of, what political affiliations they have are all more based around purpose of cause than more fundamental issues of the past. So
this is why we have Antifa. I've said it before.
So I think that's probably right, but I think this might be in response to, I think that there's been several papers that have said they've got to come up with another alternative to try and get young people engaged. And so,
sure.
Yeah. I mean,
people are bored.
Yeah, that's what it is. The kids want something else to do.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, and people are like, how do they find these people to protest, and why are they so angry? And one, they're, again, you make people afraid, you make people angry, their brain turns off, they're easily controlled, you get them in a mob mentality, and it spreads. But part of the reason that so many people are out there protesting and doing activist stuff is because they want, a lot of it starts from a genuine need to feel like you've made a difference. Mm-hmm. And right now, we are so bored because we're so successful that we don't really know if we've made a difference. Yep. It's hard to back in the old days when you worked for 15, 17 hours a day, providing for your family, working the land or whatever, and getting at the end of the day, you knew you accomplished something. When you send an email and you hit a button, it's hard to assume that you accomplish something. So there isn't any tangible value with the things that we do in large portions of our society now. So they look for some ways to feel like they're making a difference. So at the end of the day, this could be very valuable. Again, it all depends on how it is organized, how it is funded, how it is run. Because the possibility of fraud, AmeriCorps is a perfect example of that fraud. That was one of Bill Clinton's big service initiatives to get young people involved in schools and the community and cleaning up the community and things like that. And it ended up being just a giant boondoggle. But it doesn't mean that the idea of service is bad. It's just a matter of if it's going to be managed well, how it's going to be funded, that sort of stuff. And perhaps it gets people off the streets and stop, burning buildings and cars and things like that. Who knows? We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news.
I did a whole 3-hour seminar on that when I was in Indy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was actually a really cool seminar. It was all about how to engage the new generation. What motivates them? Why do they want to do things?
Right.
I don't remember which politician it was, but someone suggested that they actually start turning some of these national service programs into basically four-year colleges. You put in a certain amount of service with a specific field in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you want to go into marketing. Well, we're going to stick you with a nonprofit organization or a community group that needs to, boost its marketing. They need community outreach. So you just go through the program like that. And at the end of it, you get a degree and you say, I gained my degree for this point and it cost you nothing. Or you could do it the old-fashioned way and just go to a carpenter school.
We need more trade schools.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm actually, honestly, if I were on Pete's campaign, I'd be hitting education like a mug, and I would be talking about 5-star all over the damn country. Because it is crystal clear that 5 stars had a dramatic impact on the city of South Bend. And it's right there in his own backyard, and it's something unique that he can talk about that nobody else has except for Texas. And it's the 5-star program. So he has an opportunity there, but
any advice that we at Foreign Financial Group people know how it's going to impact their cash flow and their retirement plan and their investment.
I need to get you in touch with the people at Cultivate. They're looking for more people to talk about them too. Have you heard about them?
Nope.
That's the group that does the food rescue.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the videos on Facebook.
Yep.
And they've been on the station before. But they're a really cool organization.
The WhatsApp blackout conveniently won't be resolved until Friday. So they pulling an MSNBC, so that way nobody can show the parade in DC. Is that what they're doing? ABC, CBS, and NBC, as well as MSNBC, are not going to show it. We used to have these parades. I don't know why everybody is so irritated and butthurt about this. We used to do them.
We recognize the busy demands on life and take an integrated faith-based approach to personal growth. That means that students realize that your faith life and your work life don't have to be separate. Adults, finish your degree and earn your MBA while focused on your personal and spiritual growth at Bethel University. Start with a transfer-friendly approach, earn credits for prior learning, and even work experience. Set yourself up to finish faster and save money.
Maybe Trump proposed cutting funding to AmeriCorps, and that's why I talked about it. I thought that the funding had been cut, but apparently not.
Bachelor's, master's, and online programs at Bethel, we understand because we're growing too. Visit us at Bethel University. Apply today online at betheluniversity.edu. Next classes start June 30th.
Ceramic Z-Gloss paint coating is the newest in paint coating technology and will have your car turning heads for years, literally. The Z-Gloss process begins with polishing the paint to remove any imperfections. Then we apply 3 layers, a water-shedding primer foundation, a sealer to create an adhesive bonding, and a ceramic top coat that locks in and enhances the depth of your vehicle's gloss. This perfected paint process is hydrophobic, causing all liquids to bead up and roll off, not to mention it's scratch, UV, and chemical resistant. A
Yeah, people keep asking me to do the WhatsApp, and I'm like, nope. Not gonna do it.
Tree sap, UV rays, bugs, water droplets, dirt, and anything else nature throws at it, while providing any unmatched shine that's second to none. Z-Bart, your automotive appearance and protection experts. Visit Z-Bart of South Bend.
Due to doxing and death threats, huh? So a little girl can't make fun of AOC simply because enraged people are sending... how old is she? Like 10? 9 or 10 years old?
That building holds something special. The look goes beyond just its overall appearance. Instead, efficiency and style are what make up the look, design, and feel.
One of the girls on your team was educating other members on how to apply for food stamps. They found out they shut her down. Interesting.
For 55 years, their family-owned business has had the skill and knowledge to transform your idea into a work or living space that reflects you. In all those years, Orkholder Buildings and Supply has been providing people with sustainable, attractive, and affordable building solutions through their high-quality components. So if you want your new construction project to tell others you are about excellence, visit OrkholderBuildings.com.
All right, here we go. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Kind of interesting that this song played. Army of Me. And we're going to talk about the parade. The Salute to America that President Trump is putting on, which includes, of course, military personnel and equipment, not exclusively, but in addition to other things. And everybody is just having a conniption fit about all of this. So now, we had heard that MSNBC was not going to carry it. Shocker. But now, ABC, CBS, and NBC announced that they are snubbing the president's Salute to America celebration on the 4th of July. They plan to stick with regularly scheduled shows rather than cover the event. So they are going to play such hits as Jeopardy and Inside Edition in lieu of the, the Independence Day celebration, which, of course, features a speech from the president. However, the three networks will offer live footage over its respective online and streaming platforms. So we're not going to air it on TV, but if you go to our website, we'll give you a link where you can go ahead and watch the whole thing there. So I don't know why everybody is losing their minds over this. In reporting details of President Trump's planned show honoring America's armed forces, CBS News noted that the president was carrying forward with the event despite widespread criticism over distracting from the holiday. How is it distracting from the holiday, CBS? How does a parade about America detract from the holiday? 4th of July parades all over the country feature service members. All over the country. So why is this detracting from the holiday? Is it that the United States was not really formed because of a conflict? We were really just formed peacefully. There wasn't a war that was involved, and our military hasn't played a crucial role in the history of this country. Could it be? So the president's critics have chastised him for bringing costly military equipment reminiscent of more dictatorial regimes, and for placing himself center stage in the typically nonpartisan celebration. President Trump was reportedly first inspired to host a patriotic event in America after attending Bastille Day celebrations in France during a 2017 visit. Of course, we talked about it back then, and I still had a lot of Republicans call me and go, no, we don't do that here in America. And I had to bring up the history of it, and actually we have done that for a long time. It's just that we stopped doing it for a while in D.C., and there are plenty of examples of it happening locally on various things. Now, the cost is something I'm totally okay with people bickering about. Is it a giant waste of taxpayer dollars to basically throw one of these things? And I'm okay with people criticizing the cost for something like that, because they did. There was a lot of effort getting the equipment in there. I was watching video of them washing the tanks and everything else earlier today. The president has been promoting the Independence Day celebration, which will include concerts, flyovers, fireworks, and military demonstrations from each of America's military service branches. WRC-TV reported that during a campaign rally in Florida on Tuesday, President Trump told the audience, "We're going to have hundreds of thousands of people. We're going to celebrate America on July 4th in Washington, D.C. Come on down. We're going to have a big day. Bring your flags,
Bring those flags, bring those American flags, he said. And again, people are just collectively losing their minds. So now there's essentially the networks are saying, nah, we're gonna run Inside Edition instead, because of course we all know that the lips of the latest Kardashian and whether or not they've been pumped up with some solution or something is more important than a celebration of America on a day, which is weird. It's because they usually do carry these things. They don't want to carry it because they don't like the guy involved. So it is what it is, folks. He said, it's, I get it. People say, well, dictators do this sort of thing. Yeah, but we've also done it, and pretty much everybody else kind of does it. So there's nothing wrong with having it as a component, if you will. You're not parading all of your military equipment in order to parade all of your military equipment. You're doing it as a celebration of the country, and you're honoring the military while doing it. That's the point that he is trying to get across, but people don't want to do that. I'll leave it to you to decide why that might be, by the way. 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595953. I also wanted to address this. This came up in the live stream today. So Democratic representative from Florida, Federica Wilson. We haven't heard from old Federica for a little while here. She is one of the trio of crazy in Congress. You got her. Well, I don't know. It's not a trio anymore because you got AOC in there now. So, but she's in the Maxine Waters wing of Nutso. All right. So she is, again, she's representative from Florida, and she's known for wearing the really sparkly, bedazzled cowboy hats. That's what she's known for wearing. And on Tuesday, she stated that those who mock members of Congress online should be prosecuted. Now, this is a little distorting of what she was referring to. So she's referring to this online group of Border Patrol agents who are commenting about AOC's visit to that border facility, which now we have confirmed AOC has basically been lying about by multiple other witnesses, including people who are Democrats with her, who said, no, we didn't see any of the stuff that you're talking about. Now, again, I told you yesterday, when AOC made her famous toilet claim, she was repeating the words of a migrant who made the claim. Okay, so a migrant said, I was told to drink out of the toilet. So her and one other woman, I forget her name, from Congress, went out there and were telling everybody that they're telling everybody to drink out of toilets. Instead of confirming it with the Border Patrol, they just believed what this migrant woman was saying. And as I've explained for a couple of days now, the toilet has a sink on top, and that is totally clean, potable water. This is a common thing that you find in facilities. So the woman was trying to say they told us to drink out of the toilet. They didn't. They told her to use the sink. That is totally clean. So anyway, and that's if they even said that, by the way. And I don't know that I believe that they actually said that. So AOC went out there and told everybody that people were drinking out of the toilets. And the news media did their job. They said, cool, did you see anybody actually doing that? And she refused to answer and then drove away speedily, as she routinely does when she is confronted on these things. So there were people in a private, they keep saying it's a secret Facebook group. It's not a secret Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group, only for Border Patrol agents, where they made some comments about her. Some were asking, is she as pretty in person? Some were saying that we should have fed everybody burritos that day, so they would be passing gas and she would have to deal with the smell of it. They were making some comments that were, less than professional, but it's a private Facebook group. Well, somebody screenshot it and send it out to the media, and so that's what they're doing. So what Representative Wilson is trying to say is the people in that forum should be prosecuted because they were threatening a member of Congress. I didn't actually see a threat, but I haven't seen all of the posts that have been exposed. I saw some screen caps of them, and I haven't seen an actual legitimate threat. But she's saying that some of them in that group did threaten, and it's illegal to threaten a member of Congress, and they should be prosecuted. She's not saying that everybody on the internet who makes fun of a member of Congress should be prosecuted. She was referring specifically to that particular group. And that was the question that was addressed to her from the crowd. So I just wanted to clarify that. She's wrong either way, by the way. She's totally and completely nutso and crazy for even saying something like that. But she's trying to operate from the position that some of those law enforcement officers in that private Facebook group are actually threatening a member of Congress, and that I don't have any evidence of that. If that did happen, there could be some legitimacy there. But she wasn't referring to everybody online criticizing just members of Congress. But it did get kind of portrayed that way. and she was ineloquent in how she phrased it. But to be perfectly fair to her, she's ineloquent in how she phrases everything. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
All righty. Danelle says, I'm excited either way, even if it does mean Trump is flexing his muscles good. What's wrong with the reminder not to step out of line? I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see it. Octo Savage says he's doing it for his ego. That's it. He definitely does have a big ego. But see, here's the thing. Saying that's it doesn't make any sense. He might be doing it in part for his ego. I mean, he might be doing this event in order to inflate his ego, but he's also trying to celebrate America. And, you know, it's hard to celebrate America without celebrating his military. That's just something that's been in our culture. So you could certainly say that he is using the opportunity for the 4th to also do some imaging, if you will, heading into an election. No doubt about that. But he's been talking about this for some time now, even before he was in the White House. My Tuesday, I ate 2 steaks. Other than that, didn't do much. Oh, I went to Mount Baldy.
Don't fall in the sand.
Don't fall in the sand. She made it to the top. Made it to the top. I did not make it to Lowry's yesterday. I didn't want to deal with the 2-hour thing, and I didn't have an opportunity to go today. But I did go to Aldi yesterday, and actually found some pretty good stuff. So I got myself through the weekend, I think, for a reasonable price, and then I'll hit them up probably next week. Like the Dems don't have egos, exactly. What do you think the entire border display with Ocasio-Cortez was? That was all feeding her ego. That's all it was. Okay. Feeding her ego, feeding her ego, feeding her ego.
Okay.
No, the Inspector General did not confirm her claim. Multiple witnesses have said that what she was saying was completely untrue. And in fact, what we have is the head of the Border Patrol Union,
I will pass it along. I appreciate
who
it.
is saying that he wants the audio released of her video because what we have heard is that she actually launched into a verbal assault of officers there. And those officers finally told her to back off, and that's what she is claiming they were threatening me. Mm-hmm. So no, nobody has confirmed what she has said. Multiple witnesses have said what she said was not true, including pastors who were there just a couple of days before who have advised multiple presidents. They've said that all of her claims were completely untrue, and they saw none of that at the facility that she went to.
Do you want me to put you on hold so you can talk to Casey? All right, what's your name, bud? Frankie. All right, I got you, Frankie.
We already talked about the Facebook group. If they're acting disrespectful, that's okay. You know, they're acting disrespectful in a private group. They are saying that what they're going to do is they're going to look into it, and anybody who needs to have disciplinary action will have disciplinary action. You could argue that the Facebook group, even though it's a private group, because it's for Border Patrol officers, you could argue that it's kind of an official capacity and affects their employment, and therefore there could be repercussions for doing that if they were doing those sorts of things. The issue with the other thing was she was claiming that they were making actual threats against her. I haven't seen any screen caps of actual threats against her. That could be a criminal offense. That's what Federica Wilson was talking about. That would be a problem. But if they were just making fun of her, unprofessional, sure, but certainly not something that is worthy of prosecution. You're using Octo, using a bunch of straw man fallacy stuff to talk. People are spouting off online. It doesn't reflect what actually happens in the real world. So it's a straw man fallacy. You're gonna have to frame it a little bit better and prove what AOC is claiming is true at the facility if you want to make a case that there is a real problem with the way that they are conducting themselves with the migrants. And everybody who went there, other than her and like two other people in her group, are saying that what she is claiming is not true. So doesn't make much sense to start using people's ramblings online in a private space to justify all sorts of, well, flat out lies actually by members of Congress and others. Especially since the images that we have that are most concerning people predate this administration anyway. We talked about that earlier and played Jay Johnson, who confirmed how that all came about and why it came about. Let's see.
So he can enjoy his steak with full confidence.
Did I put that in there?
Sounds like
No. Okay, here we go.
But something's missing.
Just loading up the daily show prep, folks. Sorry.
And thanks to Polly, her bright smile is anything but a surprise. Did you turn on the old air conditioner and realize it just ain't cooling like it used to? Before it gets too hot, replace your old central air conditioner and furnace for as low as $20 a week or 0% financing for 60 months with Home Comfort experts in plumbing and plumbing. Summer is when it's
I almost played the Obama "You Didn't Build That" song when we were talking about the the cages.
Some of you already know it's time to replace. Home Comfort experts anticipated this trend and negotiated directly with the manufacturer for rock-bottom prices and payment plans. The savings on these units makes them almost
Octo, the overcrowding is there, but the overcrowding is there because they weren't funded appropriately. So this is a routine thing in politics. Relative amateurs with politics probably don't know this, and I don't know what your experience level is. So a political party will refuse to fix an issue because they don't want to give credit to the party that's in power. So they make the issue worse by opposing any fixing of the issue so they can turn it into a campaign issue. The Democrats have been caught doing that, which is why the $4.5 billion that they finally voted for, they've been refusing to vote for 17 times. So they finally got caught and they had to vote for it or they were going to face tremendous backlash. And instead of fixing issues, politicians, they do it on both sides, by the way. Politicians simply try to make the issue worse so they can use it as a campaign thing. What's happening right now is the people at the border are being turned into pawns in a game of politics. And we have people being raped, people being trafficked, and all sorts of stuff that are happening with it. So it's getting ridiculous. There's absolutely overcrowding. Nobody denied there was overcrowding. In fact, everybody who pointed out that the Ocasio-Cortez was not telling the truth about conditions there also pointed out there is some overcrowding. You have the equivalent of the city of South Bend every single month coming across the border. And they can't just release everybody into the country. And now you've got a quarantine with a disease that they can't even identify. So that's going to make things even worse. Asylum seeking isn't illegal, Octo, but the moment you come across the border illegally instead of going to a port of entry to seek asylum, you've broken the law. There's a huge difference there, and people are conflating those two issues. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. All right, I want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Again, kids shoot free today with a shooting parent. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more info. All right, we'll head to the phone lines. I got some people who want to talk about the Facebook group that we had. Frankie, welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing, Casey?
Doing well, man. What's up?
Well, I listen to your show every day on my way home from work, and I had to call in today because when you were talking about that Congresswoman feeling threatened because the Border Patrol agents, talking in a private Facebook group,
right?
It was just a couple years ago that we had Kathy Griffin all over the news holding a bloody, decapitated Donald Trump.
Correct.
Hear any outrage from the Democratic Party about something like that.
Well, we also, if you go back to the Bush administration, you had multiple assassination plays and assassination movies that were happening too. So
yeah, and Absolutely.
Right. And look, I don't know. I haven't seen a screen cap of anybody in that group that actually threatened a member of Congress. Because if you do, it's illegal. The Secret Service has to get involved, and the Capitol Police and everybody else. But what I saw was some very unprofessional posts. And again, unprofessional posts are unprofessional posts. They were in what they felt was a private setting, but you could easily argue that because you're in the Border Patrol and this is a private group for Border Patrol agents, that it does reflect on the agency, and you can get in some administrative trouble for that. And they're looking into that right now. But I haven't seen an example yet. If it exists, I just haven't seen it. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I haven't seen an example of an actual threat against a member of Congress. So Frederica Wilson, when she said that, what it was interpreted as is she was saying if anybody makes fun of a member of Congress online, then she obviously wants them prosecuted. But she was specifically speaking about the content in this group.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fine and dandy. And you're right. It is possible that there was a threat. You just haven't seen it yet.
I have not seen it yet. No.
That's one claim from a Congress member when just a couple years ago, there were all sorts of, people talking about assassinating President Trump.
Yeah.
And talking about we need to get rid of him now.
There was
all kinds of different contacts.
There was a Shakespeare in the Park, remember, where they changed all the characters around to be Trump, and they stabbed him in the back as Julius Caesar. And so
and there was no outrage about that.
No.
So it's all fine and dandy if it doesn't fit the narrative of the Democratic Party.
Right.
Once it's on them, it's an outrage.
For example, there's somebody on Twitch who was kind of complaining. They're trying to conflate multiple issues here with what she was saying about the border facility and then what some of the content was in this group. And they said, it looks like some people had drawn some lewd pictures about Ocasio-Cortez. I'm like, all right, that's very unprofessional. But if stabbing President Trump in the back in a play is considered art, then wouldn't a graphic drawing of Ocasio-Cortez be considered art? And we really shouldn't, care much about it. And again, here's the issue with those things for those of you who don't know, is that some of the things that had Trump assassinations were being funded by the taxpayer. That's the issue. So some of them were private, obviously, but there were some that were actually taxpayer funded endeavors with grants from the arts department and everything else. So that's where people were mostly complaining about this is taxpayer funded assassination fantasies. So, and again, if there's a legitimate threat, it must be investigated and prosecuted if it meets the standard of the law. Otherwise, it's just lewd behavior, and there's going to be an administrative procedure that deals with that they're looking into right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. No threat should be tolerated.
No.
Period.
Now,
against anybody.
But you had a lot of conservative websites who were saying that Frederica Wilson was saying that anybody who makes fun of members of Congress should be, prosecuted. She was not saying that. She was specifically talking about the content in this one group.
Yeah. I just thought I'd bring that up because it seems like
you're
got
right.
forgotten
easily.
Well,
we forget a lot of things. We got short-term memory problems here in the U.S. No doubt about it. All right, Frankie, appreciate it. I got to roll, man. Thanks for the call.
Yep, happy 4th.
You take care. You too. Happy 4th. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Ed, welcome to the program.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. What's up?
Well, I was just listening, and you were talking about this congresswoman who, if somebody makes fun of a congressperson, they should be prosecuted for it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just kind of thrown by that, seeing how they're allowed to tear our president apart the way they do, and nobody's calling for their prosecution on that.
Yeah, and again, she's narrowly, specifically talking about the content that these Border Patrol officers allegedly posted in this group. And for the record, just because it's a private group doesn't mean Border Patrol officers actually posted some of this content, okay? Anybody who's a member of the group can invite somebody to the group who might be a relative, a friend, something like that. So that's also something that has to be identified, is if the people who posted this stuff actually work for the government, because many of them may not. But another thing...
That's one of the things that gets to me is you've got all these Democrats, Ocasio-Cortez, all them, and they're saying such stupid things, and anybody with an ounce of intelligence can see this, and I don't know where they're coming off, because Ocasio-Cortez, I'm sorry, she sounds like an idiot. Excuse me for that if you want, but it's the truth.
Well, look, a lot of people say that, and he said I've got somebody on Twitch right now. I mean, they're being polite, they're engaging in debate, and I appreciate that. But From their perspective, overcrowding means abuse. Well, overcrowding isn't abuse. Overcrowding is a result of the lack of funding that they've been trying to get, that the president has been trying to get. The president's been trying to fix this problem for 2 years. He has been opposed at every angle. He told everybody this was going to happen. We're going to have a surge of people come across the border if you don't allow me to fix this, if you don't give me the funds to fix this. The New York Times now backs him. The Washington Post now backs him. Now, they will still attack him on conditions at the border, but they have both publicly said, give him his money. Enough is enough. This is getting out of control. We're at a point now where 25,000 African migrants are going to try and get across the border in this caravan. Again, many of them coming from the Congo. What's happening in the Congo? There's an Ebola outbreak in the Congo. What if one of them is carrying it, infects the others, or they get to that facility and it becomes a mass infection, or they get into the United States and it becomes a huge issue? I mean, this is a real.
Donald Trump for that again too.
Yeah, this is a real problem, and there's a huge not only is there a humanitarian issue with the migrants trying to get here, but there is a huge problem with national security. That it's a major issue. We just had, Nicaragua arrested 4 members of ISIS that the U.S. had warned Mexico about. It might have been El Salvador. I think it was Nicaragua. The United States warned Mexico. They said, we have 4 ISIS operatives that are trying to get into the United States through the southern border. Be on the lookout for them. Mexico confirmed this. They were found, I believe, by the Nicaraguan government. They were arrested. Okay, if we didn't catch them and the Mexicans didn't catch them, the Nicaraguans didn't catch them, they get into the country. Okay, the U.S. Southern Command has pointed out that thousands of terrorists or people from terrorist harboring and supporting countries try to get across the border every single year, and we have no idea how many actually get across. So if we've got an issue with terrorists now getting across, aside from all the humanitarian stuff, this is a huge concern. It has to be addressed. It has to be fixed. We've been talking about it for nearly 30 years now. It's time to fix it and address it and stop using these people as political pawns. That's what has to happen. And unfortunately, nobody really seems, outside of the White House and I'd say a majority of the House of Representatives, nobody really wants to see this problem fixed. And that's the issue. All right, we got. I got to bail on you, Ed. I'm sorry, I'm getting the break symbol here, but thank you so much for the call.
Thanks for your time.
You bet. Take care. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Sorry, I wanted to leave you like at least 2 minutes in the show.
Yeah, no, I was going late. All right, back to the chat. Oh, what's up, Cowboy? How you doing? Yes, it is in the show prep. So 3 Trees looking for Jay Johnson's interview. It is in the show prep for everybody, okay? Maxine Waters has had many veiled threats against the president. Roland's got, he's 100% right about that. 100% right.
Alex Morgan facing criticism for goal celebration. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw that. You know what?
It's hilarious.
Didn't she turn 30 yesterday?
I have no idea.
I think she did.
But she did the T-sip.
She did the T. That was friggin' hysterical. And the Brits can get all uppity about it if they want, but that was friggin' hysterical when she did that. And Alex Morgan is easily a 9 out of the 10 scale, so let's leave her alone.
The most patriotic photo contest. We're collecting patriotic photos of all kinds right now, including pics of the service members in your family, parades, parties, fireworks, your kids or grandkids decked out in
English soccer fans slam Alex Morgan's tea gesture, not because they're mad, but because it was poor technique.
Poor technique. That's funny.
That's good.
Look, in her defense, Americans don't know how to drink tea.
Nope. Our tea comes from Starbucks. That's pretty darn funny.
That's funny.
Yes, she did just turn 30.
Yeah, I think she just had a birthday like a day or 2 ago.
Yesterday.
It's all downhill from here, Alex.
I don't know.
No, I always had a thing for Hope Solo, and then Alex was a close second. Hope Solo just had that crazy vibe that you knew she was fun. I mean, you knew there was going to be some police involved and that there was going to be a couple of reports and some arrests, but you knew it was going to be fun the rest of the time. Alex is the person that you just, girl next door you marry. Ugh.
Or, date until she goes off and does better things, and then one day you're sitting
realizes that you're not appropriate, right?
And then one day at the TV, you're like, hey, I used to date that girl.
That's right. you actually dumped her because she wasn't going anywhere. Like she's just going to try and play soccer the rest of her life. What a lazy person.
Worked out well. I'd like to say that none of my ex-girlfriends have moved on to do much of anything of any importance.
YouTube is not letting you post the flag emoji? What? So I got a message today on Facebook. Somebody tried to post the Betsy Ross flag as their Facebook cover, and Facebook wouldn't let them.
Oh, Facebook images are down right now.
Okay, so that
like you literally
and that makes sense because I tried to post something to Instagram earlier and it did not work.
I mean, like this is me just trying to pull up a random person's picture on Facebook.
Okay, all right, so that makes sense.
Facebook images are down, and Instagram's down too.
Okay, so you couldn't post the flag. All right, hold on a second. Let me hop into the emojis here. Search. Wow, this computer is going so slow. Okay, flag. There isn't even an American flag emoji here. Oh well. Whatevs.
You own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying damaged houses too.
Yep, Eric Holder, when they're low, we kick them.
Hey, suddenly my Facebook feed is filled with pictures of Alex Morgan sipping tea.
Just like that. All you had to do is mention Alex Morgan sipping tea. Alex Morgan in negligees.
Hold on, let's try this. Hold on, let's test this. You know what I've really been thinking about buying a lot lately and doing research in is one of those cat treadmills. Yeah, I've really wanted to buy one of those cat treadmills. I don't know how much they cost. I suppose I could look it up, but I really want to buy one of those cat treadmills. I'll get back to you in a couple minutes.
Okay, you do that. So is Twitch allowing American flag too? Or is it just all those other activist flags? I'm really waiting for the day that one of the social media networks really jumps the shark and puts an Antifa flag on there. Because you know it's coming. I'm going to head over to my Twitch channel here real quick.
Because they're not just focused on treating cancer.
Do.
We're all in this together.
Blue's looking. All right, so flag. No results for flag emoji when I search for it.
No cat treadmills, but a cat nursing a skunk.
Well. All right, so let's see. American. No search results for American on Twitch. I could put it on my channel. You're right. Maybe I'll do that. I didn't realize that that was not going to be an option to have the American flag. So I guess I have to do the American flag on my channel since nobody else will. It's like a conspiracy or something.
So with Facebook images being down, it's putting a brief description in the corner of every photo.
Yeah.
This one says, may contain food.
Jesus. I did. I posted a really awesome post, which would have helped with my sale that I'm running right now in my company, and it didn't upload. It's like, we can't upload this right now. Oh, thanks. Not like I'm trying to make a living or anything. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595. 95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I got a text a couple of hours ago when we were talking about border stuff, and somebody says, if she had never seen a garbage disposal before, AOC is likely to have never seen a toilet sink combo. She's just not worldly. So further, she said she was told that people were being forced to drink out of the toilet, not shown a toilet that someone was claiming to have been forced to drink out of. I commented on this yesterday and today, by the way. Therefore, is nothing let she observed firsthand understand any language barrier that might have arisen.
Again, as stuff that we pointed out yesterday, but also because she was never shown this, she never should have ran to it. She never should have pointed this out as something that was a possibility or in existence. And instead she did. She spread it. So this is what she did with the toilet thing was akin to your average elementary school rumor mill that was happening in class. So-and-so did this, and then it spreads around class, and it spreads around school at recess, and it spreads everywhere. Nobody actually saw it happen. And next thing you know, that person is now labeled as something for the rest of their life. Let's see. People are commenting on the little girl who was assaulted by at least 20 men at the border, that they found that. So there you go. Casey, I missed it. What's your app name? Go to theburningtruth.us. That's my website. You should already be getting my newsletters and everything else. Go to theburningtruth.us. Click on any post, like today's Daily Show prep. Okay. A lot of people are asking if the Jay Johnson audio is going to be in there. Yes, it will be in there, where he explains that the kids in cages thing happened under the Obama administration and why. So that will be in the Daily Show prep today. You go there, theburningtruth.us, and the sidebar in any post, you will see the QR code. Use your phone, your Android phone, to scan the QR code, and it will download the app onto your phone. That is my website right there on your phone. If you have an Apple device, I'm sorry, grow up, get a device that was actually created for adults. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching us. You have a wonderful and safe 4th of July. Keep all of those digits handy for Friday, and we'll see you Friday right here on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Sorry, you took my clock away from me.
We've all been there before. Equipment malfunction can wreck your plans and shut down your office or facility. Let's be blunt. You don't have time for downtime.
All right.
You need the confidence that comes with commitment to excellence found at Final Phase Electric. Let us help you from the start.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of... Oh, look at that. Angie finally sent me a friend request. How about them apples? Okay. Not that Angie, not our Angie, different Angie. Okay, you got about a minute or so. Go ahead and ask me anything you want. Be happy to go ahead and answer any of those questions for you before I bounce on out of here and go get some meat in my belly. And said if you missed it earlier, my pants are officially at the stage where I had to tighten my belt so much that the pants are all scrunched up. They don't actually fit at all. There's, you got to fold them over if you don't want to get irritated. As far as I know, we're off tomorrow, Alex. I know that the building is closed. Carl doesn't think that we're working tomorrow. I don't have independent confirmation of that from our boss, but I assume that we have tomorrow off, okay? There you go, Comet. That flag is offensive. I mean, it used to be standard. You had every country's flag, and then you had a couple of the famous non-country flags that were up there. Just, now you can't have any damn flag. It's just dumb. What was that blank post? Trying to post an image, maybe?
Yeah, they're all, it's all down.
Yeah, I was just looking at, YouTube. Yeah, I tried flag. I tried American. None of it. There was nothing on Twitch. So again, I'll just give you a little more time if you want to ask anything. Happy 4th, hose. Thank you, Matthew. I obviously have to watch the parade because I've got to see if there's anything worth criticizing. Because everybody will criticize it, and then all the people who didn't see it will be bitching about stuff that they didn't see. Use your Apple phone. There you go. Hey, B-dubs, we found the surrender flag. Yeah, as far as I know, back on Friday. Everything seems to be normal on Friday. Yeah, of course the surrender flag works. Could probably get a checkered flag up there too. That is the smallest smiley face I've ever seen, Alex. Rainbows naturally, of course.
Progressive sounds like in one of our commercials. You may have seen one there. TV occasionally.
You should fire off some bottle rockets. Okay, I think I have decided I'm going to get a can launcher.
Okay.
The AR-15 can launcher.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this. That thing has fishing spears.
Yeah.
Did not realize it had fishing spears.
Dude, there are so many bizarre things that you can do with AR-15s.
I mean, it's like what is it, like $200 or $300? That's it?
Yeah. Have you ever fired the golf ball launcher?
No.
Oh my God.
No.
Like seriously, I did a scramble years ago. It was 5-star. It was the first year we did the scramble for 5-star. And we went out there, and one of the holes, the gimmick was, you had to do your tee shot with an AR-15. I had a guy that was a weapons specialist who would load it up. And it was just a standard charge, tube on the end of it. Damn thing would go like 300 yards. Like, why in the hell am I hitting the ball? I should put one of these in my bag.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I was just looking, because I mean, obviously, the company that makes them, they've been around for a while. They're popular on Instagram, and just somebody that I followed had posted, they're like, I could fish with this thing. I was like, what? It's like, holy. So I went to their website. Of course, they got the tennis balls, T-shirts, nets, the grappling hook. You can do the hook. And, all the standard stuff. And then I found the fishing spears, and I'm like, son of a gun, you can actually fish with this damn thing. And then you can upgrade it to a 308. Did you know that? They don't recommend that you use a soda can in the 308 version because it'll blow apart.
Do you feel like destroying your barrel? Because that's how you destroy your barrel.
Yeah, it's but I think you have to get the special barrel for it. Because that one, I don't know how the other one works, but that one, you just have blank, normal cartridge. So it's a 5.56 cartridge. It's just a blank. That's what powers the launch.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, launching T-shirts would be kind of cool, whatever. And then I'm like, I can fish with this thing? Dude, sold. Sold. Are you kidding me?
I just want to see the version of it. I just want to see it. Does it have like a reel on the side of it?
No, but God, that would be amazing.
It'd be like a boat, boat fishing, right?
I've got
you just like put a red dot on the end of it. You get a fishing spear.
Well, they're really stupid because they didn't put videos of it in the listing. So all I can see is the spears. And if they were smart, they would show all of it functioning and then have videos in each independent listing. And then you'd be able to actually see it work. So I have to see if somebody has the can launcher and is fishing with it, because I want to see that.
You should be. Yeah, that should be.
That's are you kidding me? Go to a friggin' lake or a river and you're hunting fish with an AR freaking 15. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God. So there's a little lake that's behind my house that I'll go to. I kid you not, some of the biggest northern I've seen in my entire life.
Really?
And I'm just anxious because this weekend I finally get paid. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get myself some braided line and I'm going to go after them.
Sweet.
All right, man.
All right.
You have fun.
You too.
Same to your listeners.
I assume I'm not seeing anybody tomorrow, so.
Are you still on the stream or are you off?
I'm on right now.
Okay. Goodbye, people. It was nice to talk to you.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, no, I don't think you're going to see me Friday. I am not planning on being here tomorrow.
Okay.
In the event the whole world collapses.
Well, John's supposed to be back, right?
Yeah, he's not going to be back till Saturday.
Oh, okay, over the weekend. Yeah. So who's doing it Friday? Do you know? Is it Zach?
Oh,
or is Joe back?
Joe should be back.
Joe's back. Okay.
Joe should be back. And if he's not, you'll just get me again.
Okay. Good deal. All right. That was Carl Stutzman. Carl Stutzman is covering for Joe. Oh, did Blue get timed out? What the hell happened? What did I miss? Oh, and by the way, the can launcher, they got the ATF to rule that it's not a firearm, and therefore you don't need to do any of the paperwork or any of that crap with it. Blue, you posted an American flag and got put in timeout? Really? Did Nightbot do that, or was that a Twitch thing? Because Nightbot was doing that on YouTube, because the setting for emojis was on. So Carl moved to Indianapolis, and then Carl moved back here about a year ago. He's been doing something on Froggy, but now he's the assistant PD for MNC here in the building. I need to time out Nightbot. Okay. Let me log into Nightbot on Twitch, because I've been logged into Nightbot on YouTube. So let me log in on Twitch. Let me change some settings. I think the YouTube one worked better today, though. It looked like it helped quite a bit, because I know that you guys are being harassed. All right, hold on. Authorize Nightbot for Twitch. Sure enough. So Howdo said, "Hell yeah, brother," got timed out. Blue for posting the thing got timed out. So I had 2 timeouts today. Hey Tracy, you're the top chatter right now. I know you're shocked by that. Let's see. Where settings? No, that's for Discord.
I was supposed to sit in for Sean Hannity, and they're like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And broken nose. Once he takes care, because you have to wait till the swelling goes.
Well, where in the
broken nose, no teeth. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing it. You better believe it."
I can never find where this stupid settings are, because they don't have the settings in a place called settings. All right, spam protection. Here we go. All right, so certain words, phrases, and patterns. Okay, excessive caps, I'll disable that. Excessive emotes, I'll disable that. I do have links on. Excessive symbols, I'll disable that. So it does have a link thing, and I'm going to leave the link protection on there. And the reason I'm going to do that, excuse me, I don't have a whitelist. There's a real problem with people, excuse me, damn, got the hiccups. People posting virus links in Twitch, and then people will click on the link and get a virus. So I'm going to leave that one on. So I've turned everything off except for protection against links and the blacklist words and phrases, which are your standards. Apparently you can spear fish. See, I want to bow fish. I really want to bow fish, which is kind of like spearing. So I would assume you can do it with an AR-15. I would expect the DNR to pay you a visit. So if you do it, I think the DNR officer is going to come up and be like, yo, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just shooting fish with my AR. That's all I'm doing. Have him send him to a mod. All right, I'll look at ways to do that. I don't know. It had emojis and symbols and links on, so we've got those turned off now.
But you can check him out at Rose_Unplugged on Twitter, Rose Unplugged on Facebook, and also
Yeah, they would have fun with that. Are you kidding me?
So make sure you check out Tucker Boy.
All righty.
Don't go anywhere right now, because I'm going to talk to you all about something.
Okay, I will do that maybe tonight. I'll try and log in and get it all taken care of. All right, folks, anything else? I would like to go have a steak now. Actually, I might have salmon tonight. That's what I might do. I'm going to do salmon tonight, and I'm going to do a ham steak for breakfast. I got a big old giant ham steak. I'm going to do it for breakfast. The 3D stream. You know what? Maybe I'll do that for the 4th. I'm trying to figure out what to print right now. I'm looking at a Paddington Bear print that I might do. So if you've got a suggestion of what I could print, then I'll do that. I was looking today, trying to find something interesting to print, just because I hadn't printed in a couple of days, and I could use something. Same to you, Happy. Come back with all your fingers. Print a Mayor Pete. I'd have to model it. And let me look real quick and see if somebody's modeled Pete Buttigieg. Hold on. I've got a really good 3D print search engine that I can use called Yegi. Let's see if anybody's actually bothered to model it. Just his campaign logo and a cookie cutter. So somebody has a Pete sign, and there is a Pete Buttigieg cookie cutter. So maybe I could print that. There's nothing else.
So they believe that this is a fair system and capitalism. And nobody stops to think, or at least they don't stop to explain to us when they're on the
AR-15 is safer than dynamite, I'll give you that.
how in the heck they're going to pay for all the free things they want to give everyone. Free education, free healthcare, free
Take care, Blue.
There's no mention of how they're going to pay for all of that stuff. Now, the other day, Roy Behar was talking about you Republicans. And, you know,
No, I haven't done a Mickey Mouse.
that you really didn't understand what the word socialism means.
Oh, the Mad TV guy, or the Mad Magazine guy.
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, we do know what it means, okay? We
So let me see if there's an Alfred. Hold on a second.
absolutely understand.
There's got to be an Alfred, right?
We understand its redistribution of the wealth. We understand that it eliminates free markets and it does away with free enterprise. You know what else?
There is an Alfred E. Newman. That's funny. I could do that, I guess. Oh, there's a really nice Hitchcock one. Alfred Hitchcock stuff showed up, too. Really nice Hitchcock bust.
Sure it has yours as well. And Bernie Sanders was one of the first to use the term. And since
That looks cool.
this leftist mantra,
You have to use supports for it?
you know, it's almost like mainstream
Yes, you got to use supports.
this
Hmm.
And that term is democratic socialism. Have you been hearing that? Democratic socialism. There's a really clever
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it. Thank you, Blue. Do it. I might, okay? I might just do that. So I do. I've got it. Yeah, I've got to set up a little thing down there and get it going. But
So now they're saying that, oh no, we're not talking about that.
I could make use of it.
Socialism. We're talking about democratic socialism.
I'll just title it that I'm printing a Pete Buttigieg bust and have it be Alfred E. Newman. So as people are watching, they're going, that doesn't look like Pete. Wait a minute. Leave it sitting in the studio. That's funny. All right. Last call. Last call, ladies and gentlemen.
Going to sell better than, you know, the old socialism.
And we'll go ahead and get out of here. I got to record a couple of things before I bounce.
Democratic socialism will be
That is pretty funny. I wonder if anybody printed the Alfred E. Newman.
After that, it's essentially a choice between yam and pork. In other words, there is
It's like bobblehead style, too.
it's a way for the government
That is funny.
to handing over your freedom in exchange for all these promises that they can't keep. You know they can't keep it, and they know it too. They know it too. So tomorrow we celebrate 243.
Ooh, somebody did a spy versus spy one.
You know, when you think that, I mean, just think about it. 243 years ago tomorrow, the Continental Congress was meeting and they were deliberating because they were involved in one of the most radical events of
All right. Good night, Tracy.
13 colonies were to become the United States of America, new nation. This was
Bat Cave Beethoven.
done before. This was something that took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to accomplish. So here's the Continental Congress, 240 years ago tomorrow, deliberating. Now,
Gotcha.
here's what happened.
The secret button and everything. Yeah, I'm sure somebody's done that.
Declaration of Independence was already adopted. There was a lot of hesitation when it came to applying their signatures to the document.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bounce. I've got to do some recordings and I want to get out of here and go eat. So you all have a wonderful evening. And thank you so much for joining us again. Please be safe this 4th of July and have fun celebrating America. We'll see you on